Closest we've come to is the creatorship. Like,
oh yeah,
you know
Okay, that's pretty good.
we'll go with that. one.
So that's the closest thing that we have to a name so far. Definitely have a group of creators. Most are content creators, right? You fall into that category as well. So basic premise, basic simple concept is like, this is a career. This isn't like an accident. Although an accident may get you into it, it doesn't carry you for the next 50 years, right?
Sure.
I think some of the things, the other pieces is like, so-and-so Ryan Prunty has 1.7 million YouTube subscribers, yet like people don't know you walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
Like, so same premise. The last guy here, Jack Rains, he had what, 500,000 email subscribers on a Young Money newsletter, right?
Yeah.
Like
Email subscribers?
email subscribers.
Oh, that's great.
We got to tap into that market.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do in creator economy that a lot
He's
of
a
us-
writer. Like
we don't touch.
we had the conversation. Like, what are you? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a creator? Are you a writer? Are you this?
He
And he's
defines
like
as
a
a writer.
writer. He identifies. So I think like the idea on creatorship too is like people can identify any which way as to what they are.
Sure. How do you identify for this kind of thing? Trick shop guy? Sports
when
guy?
people ask you, "What's your job?"
Yeah.
My go-to answer is I mooch off my more successful friends.
Yeah. So
I'm a mooch.
you're Caleb.
I'm Caleb the mooch.
Caleb the mooch.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough. I do answer it differently depending on the environment I'm in, to be honest with you, because I do like a wide array of things. Where I am a social media content guy, and I always say I specialize in sports content.
So that's Caleb Nash Feemster.
Yes, Caleb Nash Feemster, which, by the way, I was never called by all three names until I started social media because Caleb Feemster was taken on Instagram. So I did Caleb Nash Feemster, and the first collab I ever did, I only knew the guy through Instagram. So on the video, he was like, and this is Caleb Nash Feemster. And I was like, oh, that sounded weird.
That's it now.
And then it just stuck.
Yeah.
So if during this episode we come up with a name for the podcast,
It could stick. You could always change it later. You could always rebrand.
So you are Caleb Nash Feemster.
Yes, Caleb Nash
So
Feemster.
for today, what is your career?
I'm a content creator, so I do all forms of social media that I specialize in sports content.
Are you an actor?
I am. So that is my main passion and goal is being an actor, yeah.
But you make money from content creation primarily.
Right, yeah. So content creation started for me as a creative outlet because as many struggling actors, I was working 5 part-time jobs of like working for a moving company and catering and waiting and security.
Which was your
at a club.
favorite part-time job? Which one did you meet Ryan at?
He met me
We met doing content
on a
creation.
YouTube shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube shoot.
Sure, I'm sure it was not.
Yeah, no, it wasn't at the club.
What's your
we were both
favorite
catering.
part-time gig back then?
My favorite part-time gig back then was
Like you just moved to LA, you rolled up, and
was-
you're starving.
I was the head bouncer at a club.
Which, well, you don't have to say. Why was that your favorite?
I don't.
Oh, I know the answer to that.
It was.
You're just not. You're not.
know,
You're not
man.
big enough to be a bouncer.
I
Is it
mean-
because people in LA are little, or
A lot of people in LA are little, but like, don't act like I'm 6'5", 240.
Don't act like I'm small
I'm
now.
not like small.
You're not that
you know
big,
what
but
I
that's
mean?
not like you're not small, but you're not big enough to be a bouncer.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like it was fun. It gave me a sense of like responsibility, and I don't want to say power because that makes me sound like big headed. But like I was the one who decided if you came in or if you didn't. So I don't know.
Is it because you're so good looking?
I enjoyed it. I mean, you said it, not me. This is my camera here.
You can have any camera.
Whichever, apparently,
whichever
yeah,
one you
man.
look at.
Beautiful. God, I just
No,
want
but
to hit
I
all 3.
You didn't do your hair today.
I know it's kind of. Is it messy or is it?
Yeah, it's really bad.
I'd put that back
Put the
on.
hat back on.
Yeah, probably.
I'll go backwards.
I mean, for a guy with good hair, you should probably
Yeah, I mean, I was
take
just,
advantage of that.
I was just gonna sleep in the car for 2 hours anyway, so I didn't feel like doing my.
We
hair.
could have did makeup. We could have touched it up.
Do we need it?
No.
I need it.
It's not too bad.
So the selection component was at that point in time there was.
It was just a cool, like to me, it was just a cool LA job. I feel like, and it wasn't as.
What did you tell your
grueling.
mom you did then?
I told her, she wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
And then I think my final straw for being like a bouncer, like on the security side, I actually worked in nightlife for another 6 years. But my final straw as like a security guard was I had booked a photo shoot because I was doing the acting and modeling thing. I'd booked a photo shoot, and then a brawl broke out at the bar like a couple nights before, and I got a black eye, and so I was like,
"You lost a shoot."
No, I didn't lose the shoot.
Oh,
It wasn't like a swollen black eye, but it was a shiner. They could cover it up with makeup, but I was like, this is
Not
It's
worth
not
it.
professional.
Yeah, it's not a good
That's
look.
your bread and butter, man. You can't mess it up.
Who'd you bring with you?
Who'd you bring? I brought him with me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, hey,
brought
that's
us
not how
both.
he sells it.
Yeah, I know.
That's not how. Yeah, you both rode in my car.
That's true.
is
So you
true.
brought both of
us.
us. Yeah.
You brought us.
Why don't you introduce him and what does he do?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Take us
What
with
do
you.
you- what do you think I do?
This is Ryan Prunty. Prunty, sorry. We just met. We met doing content creation, but I feel like now he is graduated on to managing other content creation aspects of the world for businesses and creators as well. So
So, what do you want from the beginning?
No, I mean, give us the intro. What's the intro? I don't care
So-
about your story actually. I like.
What do I do now?
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do?
I have my own platform. So I usually when I start a conversation, like the way you're talking about how do you introduce yourself, it depends if I want to answer questions or not. If it's a random person asking me, I just say that I make videos and they never ask anything else because people don't care. But if I want to talk about it, I usually say
So
that
I would immediately ask, do you make music videos?
that's why I say that. I'm like, yeah, sometimes. And then I just leave it, right?
So you don't
let-
tell them about like the Nerf guns?
Oh,
and
never.
stuff?
No, you can't talk about the Nerf guns.
Yeah, because that's just weird.
So now I usually say that I'm a content creator, social media person, like personality, and then I say that I manage and do growth partnerships with people. So I've done very well on YouTube. My business still runs. I have Instagram.
How do you pay the bills in your business?
So I have Google ad revenue coming in every month, no matter what, pretty much guaranteed. That pays for, that pays the bills, that pays the employee that I have who's full-time all the time. And then the
What
thing
does an employee do? At
Full-time.
At Prunty Enterprises?
uh,
Prunty Pictures.
LLC.
so
Prunty.
I've had
Penty.
the most employees I've ever had has been 7 full-time salaried employees at a time. Right now I have 1 because I did recently move across the country and my employees were like, I'm not going to move to the middle of nowhere, Raleigh, North Carolina with you. The one guy who stayed around is a full-time editor / like content ideator producer. So anytime I need content, I'll just hit him up and be like, I need a video post on this day for this brand or just for me, just for content. Here's the footage, or can you ideate and create something for me? And then I help package and release it. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
so,
no, totally.
So that's how all of like my content side runs.
And I think like most people
Yeah.
listening kind of know.
Yeah.
They get the idea. There's a reason they tuned in. And it's not. It's not me.
They get what's going on for the most part. So that's the content side. I think that will be a piece for me for a very long time because I have grown my audience and my income there high enough that I don't think it'll ever, like the floor will never really drop out, if that's kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the part,
Aren't you kind of afraid of like people, either you totally aging out of that content or is it just like a residual?
it's a mix of both. I mean, how much business do you talk on this?
Dude, we don't even know what this is.
Okay, great. So
Do you
I'll
have
be-
a name for it?
I'll be
Like,
there.
if you give me a name, that'll help.
it'll help figure it out. I like the creatorship.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah. So I'll be fully transparent with you. So I took a really there's companies that go out and they'll buy catalogs of content
yeah.
and they'll pay you for the next 3, 4, 5 years of earnings on the videos that you've already posted. So I took a pretty big deal for one of those a few years ago.
Okay, so you sold off your
I sold
content.
off my backlog of content, not my new content,
Ah.
right? But it was enough money, and the only requirement I have now is I need to keep posting something, right? But
So you're getting Chris excited now. Like
Yeah.
Chris is this is he's been looking for this conversation.
Yeah. So I had a year where I made more money than I thought I would ever make in my entire life, to be honest with you. And I did really well, but also I sacrificed a lot of like personal and mental health and relationship health for that, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is a whole thing in life that we could really get into if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3, 4, 5 hours.
Yeah, might as
until
well.
you have to leave.
Sorry if I'm talking about
Till
myself too
someone
much.
No, we got.
I gotta head out.
Yeah, see you later. Yours gone.
You got a date.
talk, yeah.
So-
I got a date. I've been working Tinder over here.
So-
Yeah.
As soon as I got in the city.
Yeah. Then
Day
you
naps going off.
ping.
I set my location here a few days ago. I knew I was coming.
It's
Yeah.
lined up.
Wow.
Scrolling Tinder the
How
whole
many
time.
employees you got?
I have two like part-time employees, and they're both in college, and so I do plan on hiring full-time when they're done with college.
And Caleb has a strategy that I wish I adopted for a long time, which is there's something, and I'm really apologetic if any of my old employees see this because they are friends of mine, but
they probably will.
There's something really beneficial about not making a full-time commitment to somebody.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Which I learned. That was a learning experience for me because it becomes super stressful. You have,
you're paying for people. You're the boss. So I was the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, I was running at a point where I was doing my minimum spend every month was at least 50 to 60K just on production and people, right? Employees, studio location, actors, locations, right? All that kind of stuff. That just like stressed me way out. So where I've been going is more into like consulting, brand management. And now I also am slowly acquiring equity in other people's channels, like minor equity for operations.
If you name it, you could slowly acquire a minor piece of equity.
In this podcast?
In this channel. Who knows what it is?
What do we got? Give me something.
I'll come up with something.
Creatorship.
Okay, all right, we'll got something
by the end of this show, I'll have a good one for you.
See, the problem is you can't answer what your career is, right? And really, this is about what your career is and other people's careers.
Right, sure. Yeah.
And you got 7 employees at one point, and yet really, we don't have a term in society. Like, what do you go to school to study if you want to do this? What do you tell your mom you do
to do this?
That I do this, and I think that's really the interesting piece.
I feel like I got
for
into
this audience.
Oh, I totally agree. I got into this social media thing right before I think it became public knowledge that you could have a career here, because this was not offered at my school, right? I studied television and radio, which both of those mediums are for the most part not existent anymore.
Not without social.
Not without social, right? And like television is now streaming, right? Radio is now streaming apps. So if it was around, I absolutely would have.
Which, by the way, did you know Pandora has 35 million subscribers?
Pandora's still around?
Do you think they're active users, or do you think that they're people who forgot?
Active users.
Interesting.
Active users.
And what?
Like, it's a real business. It's owned by Sirius.
Yeah. I had Pandora, I think, when I was in junior year of high school. Maybe.
Same. I had it for like 2 years before Spotify became a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like you when I found that out. And one of the things is, like, have you ever listened to Spotify? You're not on Spotify, are you?
I use Spotify all the time.
I use Spotify
every day.
Not like paid for.
Yeah,
They
pay for Spotify?
Spotify pays you.
No.
They don't pay you.
No.
They don't pay me.
I have a couple songs on Spotify though, so.
Can you spit?
Yeah, sing.
I'm a country. I got country songs. You didn't know that, huh?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about them?
Peep the camo hat, Noble. Come on.
Yeah.
I said, peep the camo
Yeah,
hat.
you see my vibe. I kind of got like a city country vibe going on because that's where I'm from the city country.
The city country.
It's kind of it.
It's a city in the middle of the country, so I'm just from the city.
I mean,
but
He's like Larry Bird.
Yeah, best just
nice.
just nice.
I love
nice
great
Larry
comparison.
Bird.
And just as good at basketball. Thank you.
I heard you're a better 3-point shooter than Larry Bird.
Thank you.
Roll a clip.
Well, he's never played me in a 3-point contest, so I don't know.
Larry,
he's running.
You know Larry's listening.
I know. Larry's a big fan of this show.
Yeah, we haven't dropped an episode yet. We got 6, 7 in the can, but Larry's listening because he hears everything.
He knows. Every time you say his name,
he hears it.
Say it
3 times he shows up. Yep.
So, no, I mean, I think you could take him at this point.
Yeah, right now probably. Yeah.
How old is he? 85?
No,
Dude, he's in
his 60s.
Who's got a better back, you or Larry Bird?
Oh, gosh,
both of you are
probably
bad,
the same.
yeah.
Who can
It's
pull off
probably
short
about the
shorts
same.
better? You or Larry Bird?
Probably me because I have the leg tats. They just look cooler.
What at some level, what you've done is make a career out of being yourself.
And also, what I love about it, first of all, being your own boss, best thing ever, I think. But being able to slowly transform your job and your responsibilities to only be about very specific passions, I think is the best. Kind of like what you're saying right here. Like, I love shooting and I love producing and managing people and creating content, but I don't like doing it the film way where it takes months and months and months to make something. So now with social media, you create content and it's published 2 days later. There is an instant gratification element to content creation, right?
I hated being a lawyer because at the end of the week, you just work 75 hours and you turn around and you're like, what did I do?
There's nothing to show.
And there's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like paper maybe moved from this side of the desk to that side. So when I was a lawyer, I used to go on my vacation. I'm a weird guy. I get it. I used to go on vacation and cut grass. Charge like people with a big tractor, country city guy.
Yeah, country.
Get a big tractor, get a bush hog, and clear land. And it was amazingly gratifying. Like nobody understand why you would do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I just made like $5,000 this week. Like that's not a bad thing. And
also,
when I turn around, I can see exactly what I just cut.
Yeah.
I know what I did.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I get that component. Why do you want to be an actor? Why is that the dream?
You know, when I was a kid, I just wanted to be an actor so bad. I was in acting classes. I did all the auditions and things like that as a kid. And then in middle school and high school, I was in drama. And then real life High School Musical story, my sophomore year, this is the truth. Sophomore year, I did drama in 9th grade. Sophomore year, you could start to audition for the school productions. But the school production rehearsals were the same time as basketball practice. So I had to choose. And then it was in that moment and on top of that, you know, as a kid, I also wanted to play professional basketball too, but I was like, wow, I'm way better at basketball than I am at drama. So I went the basketball route. Obviously, I played in college and was pursuing a professional career. But then when I got hurt, it was kind of like, okay, what now? You know, and I had a couple degrees to fall on, but I didn't want to use them, didn't have a passion for anything else. I coached kids, like in middle school. I coached middle school kids for a little bit, and it was like, it was cool. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But there was something in me.
Did your mom prefer you coaching middle school kids or bouncing at the club?
Probably coaching middle school kids, but she knows that the bouncing at the club had an end goal. So I think she was okay with it.
Is she okay now?
Yeah, she's good now. She's good now. I hope. Maybe. Hey, Mom. She is watching this. Yeah. If you have 2 viewers, it's my mom and dad for sure. But yeah, and so I was just like, man, I remember what it was like. What I used to want to do was acting. And so I called my old acting coach. She didn't remember who I was at all. And I was like, can I just come in for a couple like one-on-one sessions, see if I like still enjoy it? And I did. And I had a blast. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. And then about 8 months to a year later, I moved to Los Angeles and to pursue acting. And I don't know, I really love entertaining. I really love, as conceited as this sounds, I really love being in front of a camera and making people laugh and smile and feel something. And so I think that's where social media came into play too, is I was working all those part-time jobs because I had a goal of acting, but then I realized I could do what I wanted to do without breaking my back. Like social media is still entertaining.
If you never make it to a large TV show or movie, but you have this career where you've been able to build the things you want financially from social media, do you look back and say, I enjoyed it? This was a good career.
Yeah, I would say that because, like I said, I'm entertaining people and I hope some people laugh when they watch my content. Or
I laugh all the time when I watch your content.
Well, yeah, that's just because you think it's stupid.
I think it's good. I think my favorite's when you get hurt.
But you and like 100 other thousand people. Yeah.
The Hassan in the Jordan pose was like, that was the piece where I was like, oh, there's something really, because that was the piece where I was like, like they got from Haas, like that was the best thing at the time that he could do for himself.
Yeah.
And like and what happened from that is it led to a set of self-confidence things that would allow him to take another step forward, right? Like, and I think that will continue. Like there was a chain reaction that happened there because you found that moment. So I do like your other content.
Well, thank you.
But I do like it when they hurt you.
When I get hurt, yeah.
I like proposing those ideas to make sure that they happen.
Yeah, I have him in the corner here to come up with dumb ideas, and then I'm stuck in a corner like,
I'm like, I'll do it, but it's better if you do it. I think that's where Caleb and I have different careers slightly, is like I never wanted to be in front of the camera, but I knew strategically and financially getting in front of the camera was the highest income potential and highest career growth potential.
That's why we have like 3-4 cameras.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like,
I
just straight.
Like,
what? Yeah. I don't care if I'm in an audience, I'm in whatever, but
it's
instantly scalable.
Oh, absolutely. And Because like you said you were in drama theater department. Like I did musicals and stuff in high school, but I was on the stage crew to learn how to do production and stuff. And there was one time where I was forced to be in a musical as like a background person. It was like my biggest fear of all time. If you look at my first YouTube video ever, you can hear my voice like shaking and quivering because of how scared I am to just film myself in my room by myself. But it is like a learned skill that I feel like anybody can adopt. And it's, you know, you can train it, get better at it, learn how to.
What was your first piece?
My
Commercial
first,
where you're like, I'm going to do this. And like, this
my
is
first
okay.
commercial?
No, like
that made you
commercial
something.
piece. Like, I'm doing this for work, not for like play. You know what I mean? Like where you had already said like, hey, I should be doing more on social media because it's beneficial business side.
It was kind of a weird thing where I had a friend who was already doing social media, and I was going through a moment in my life where where he could see that I just needed to get out of my own head, and he was like, hey, just come film with me, because I had filmed 1 or 2 videos with him before that did well for him. And he was like, just come film, get your mind off of things, come hang out, blah, blah, blah. And we grew his channel as a duo a decent amount. And then he was like, you should really just start your own channel so I can stop paying you and you can make your own money. And so my first YouTube video,
That's like you guys.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come here so I can.
So we can like help each other out. And so my first YouTube video that I posted was some type of sports challenge. I forget what it was, but I had already had 4 or 5 months of experience with my friend Josh, and he helped me make that first video as well. So I had a unique situation where my first video did maybe like 30, 40,000 views because I had kind of a built-in audience. So then when Josh said like, hey, Caleb just started his own channel, y'all go check it out, I had a lot of his people come over because they liked our dynamic already. So yeah, my first YouTube video was some type of sports challenge. I can't remember exactly what it was, but maybe it was some type of bowling video.
If you were going to ask him one question, or if you were me and I should ask him one question, what
about
would you
anything?
Ask? Yeah, what would you ask him?
Do you regret?
What should I ask him?
Let's leave love life out of it.
Love life.
Well, because here's so I have a slight advantage to this because I've known Caleb for a long time.
No, that's intentionally why I asked.
Do you regret locking yourself into a niche? Not locking yourself in, but you got yourself
building a niche.
Because
you built a sport because he introed with
but
it.
He's communicated to me that sometimes you have a little bit of a regret doing that, right?
Yeah. I would say the answer is yes and no. Being very sports specific, it was very difficult and still is very difficult for me to do anything else that I want to do on social media because you build and train an audience, and then when you post something outside of what they're used to, it typically flops, and then you have to go months with terrible views until you can kind of build a new audience or lose a bunch of your old audience, which you don't want to do because you want to stay true to them. So it's kind of a hard balance. Like perfect example is I did all these sports videos, and then I did a video with, at the time, one of the biggest creators on the platform. His name was David Dobrik, and I did a video pranking him, and he was in 75% of the video. He was in the title and thumbnail. And I thought it was a very good video, and it was funny, and it took me
from a creative standpoint, it should have done super well.
From a creative standpoint, it should have done really well because it took me like a month to pull off. Like it was good. And it flopped, and all the comments were like, so you're just going to leave Josh and Chris behind, the 2 guys that I was filming with? You're just moving on to...
Because you did one post.
David Dobrik, did you do one thing with David Dobrik you've left ever?
And like people thought like, oh, because you're friends with him, you think you're big. Like not one positive comment on the video, and I was just like...
Guys, it's one video.
Like heaven forbid I do something that I want to do.
It's crazy because when you have an audience and you're producing consistent content for them... To that audience, you only exist in 10-minute increments.
Yeah.
And especially because I have a younger audience than him, they don't even understand that there's editing, planning that goes into it. They think you only exist on the screen. So anytime something doesn't fall within their expectations, it's kind of like what you're saying, they hate it, right? Or
I used to do these things called do or pie, which every Friday the loser of the video got a pie to the face, right? And I would announce at the beginning of the video, like, cause I couldn't tell my friends that was the video we were filming that day because they would be like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And so I would announce, guys, it's Friday, which means it's a doer pie kind of day, blah, blah, and they would all get mad. And then every single comment would be like, hating on me and my friends, like, it's Friday, so why do you even show up for the videos? They didn't understand that we were filming on a Monday or Sunday. You know what I mean? They thought it was like real time
Real
type
Friday.
thing. And then I eliminated that video series from my channel because like after a while, you film with the same 4 or 5 people. It's like, dude, stop.
Yeah, we know.
And I get it too. I don't want to pie to the face all the time. And I stopped that to this day. Every video I post, there's at least 5 comments.
Where's the pie?
Why no pie, man? What's the deal?
I know my comment to every post I find.
Better not. You better.
For the rest of our life.
Every Instagram post,
Where's the pie, Caleb?
Where's the pie, Caleb?
So, I mean, it's like, regret, no.
Strawberry rhubarb,
Yeah.
Caleb. Where's the pie?
It's tough to say regret because I have built such an amazing audience and I do have some incredible people who follow. And I love going to a basketball game, a Laker game or something, and a kid knowing me from my basketball videos.
Where do you sit at the Lakers games?
Where do you think I sit? If your feet ain't on the wood, it ain't no good. You know what I mean?
Where do you sit at the Lakers games?
It depends who gives me the tickets. If it's an away team, obviously they have the away section. If it's a home player, then
When do you get to buy the Lakers tickets and give them?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that either.
when do I get to?
Yeah, but like when do you become the guy that buys the Laker tickets?
Yeah, well, I feel like if I'm doing things right, I'll never buy a Laker ticket.
I get what you're saying though. Like, are you saying how do you turn that into?
No. I mean, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
So
like-
go on with that because I think that's,
Well,
because I'm asking it from a business perspective of like,
yeah.
you know, when are you not the guest?
When are you the guy?
When are you the guy
Yeah.
that brings people?
He is a
Because
little bit
like
of
you
that still,
love
though.
basketball, so
love
it's
basketball.
not it's not like, oh, you're, you know.
yeah, and I didn't mean for that to sound cocky by
No,
any
no,
means,
no,
but
no,
like
I'm with you. I
because
followed it.
my background is in basketball and I played in high school and college and I've built some really cool relationships with a bunch of guys who are still in the NBA. So I know a lot of, and I work closely with the NBA as well.
Right.
So like if there was a game that I didn't have a ticket to, I could hit the NBA up and be like, hey, I need whatever. But what Ryan said is I enjoy being that guy now in the sense of, yes, I'm gifted the tickets, but then I also love taking
Other people.
who have
Girls.
never been to a Laker game.
Girls. So he said stay out of his
It's a
book.
great
Yeah,
date.
yeah.
It's a great
His mom and
date
dad are
night.
watching. We're
My
leaving.
one of my greatest date stories ever comes from taking a girl to a Laker game. It's a great story. And so I love being, like, you know, my friends who have never been to a Laker game or someone, you know, so I enjoy being that guy now. I just see it as like I've built a unique friend group and relationship with people that like I can kind of
So
be
you're
both.
not a Lakers fan per se.
I am a fan of who gives me the tickets. That's my rule.
There you go.
Yeah, that
You'll
is
wear
my
any
rule.
Yeah,
jersey?
you're a free agent.
Yeah,
You're a free
100%.
agent.
You want me to cheer for you? Give me tickets.
All right, so
Yeah.
you're not buying UConn.
What's
No,
that?
we're UConn fans when they give us tickets.
Yeah, I am a UConn basketball fan.
Yeah, we kinda-
I am.
yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
We also know the
I
players
don't.
now.
Yeah, I don't have a.
Right.
Yeah, like I do cheer for friends. You know what I mean?
It's-
And I consider a lot of those players friends now.
So I was always a Quebec Nordiques fan. 1995, they moved from Quebec to Colorado.
A what?
Yeah, hockey.
Oh,
It's a sport.
Never
they play
heard
it in
it.
Texas now.
they?
Back then they didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. So they moved to Colorado, so the team's gone. Well, 95 was my draft year. So I 2 first rounders that I grew up with, I knew played against a lot of guys, played against some guys in
Gotcha.
Finland. So like your friends, you're following your friends. Guess
Yeah.
what? They age out.
Yeah.
They age out. So my friends now have kids that have been drafted. Like at some point,
Yeah.
you gotta buy your tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
when that time comes, I guess I'll let you know.
So
yeah.
it's a different environment. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, the question that I was asking was more like, instead of talent, when is the business be
So-
big enough? Like, do you consider yourself more on the talent side at this point or on the business side?
I think I'm in a good transition period, like middle ground period, where I'm still doing my own content and still producing my own stuff regularly, but now transitioning into consulting, helping other companies, helping other individuals, things like that.
Are you looking at that? Why are you looking to go that way instead of looking to take your audience through a journey in entertainment from YouTube into stream, to a show, that? Why are you trying to go towards consulting and write scripts? Like,
I think
why are you keeping them separate?
I think it kind of goes back to his regret question. Anytime I do post anything about the acting world or modeling world, it's just like social media is not interested, but it is my main focus and interest in my life. And I kind of, not that I like keeping them separate, but there is kind of a benefit to it. Is like I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes that people wouldn't know, and I enjoy working on those things behind the scenes. And so I've always said the moment I'm a working actor, and that's like my career.
Who's the romantic sidekick to you in the movie, not in real life?
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I was like, Josh, I don't know.
Ryan is the romantic.
Yeah. Who are you casting?
Or who would you
I
cast
was
to
with a
play
casting
you in
director.
a movie about you?
I was last night. That's who I was with. Was a casting director. So like, who are you casting on site?
To be my romantic.
Yeah, like you're the star. You got to
Anna
have
de
a
Armas.
romantic star.
Oh man, I think there's a lot. Based on
He's really going out there. Who is it? Who's the person when you close your eyes, you see the movie poster?
And it's
who's
you.
on the poster with you, or is it just you?
Is it just you by yourself?
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it just you? Like
I have always had. I'm giving two answers here. I'm sorry. Talent wise,
yeah.
the two actors that I just look at and I think, wow, they are like I would love to work with them one day because they're so good. Are Emma Stone and Jennifer Lawrence? I think they're so talented.
Jennifer Lawrence used to live like right over there.
Can we go say what's up?
Yeah, she doesn't live there now. She's doing a lot
So we
better.
say what's up
Yeah,
to
she's
whoever's
doing-
there.
she's
But
doing a lot better now.
In like a hovel
I
right
think
over there.
those two, they are so. I've always everything they've ever been in. I'm like, wow, they are really, really good, and they're beautiful people. But talent-wise, are great. And then
So what's the movie that you and Emma Stone are in? And by the way, she's
actually-
maybe playing your mom.
it's actually an interesting question.
she's like 35.
Okay, so
34.
You're like 21.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can place yourself in one hit from the last 10 years. What is it? So you take the lead spot. What kind of content? Like what kind of concept or genre?
Oh, man, that's really good.
You know what I mean?
I've
Are you like
always-
you want to be like in the Lord of the Rings, or you want to be in
No. I've
Star Wars?
I've always
Like,
said that if I could imitate someone's career, it'd be Chris Pratt's because he started as the comic relief, the funny guy in Parks and Rec, and was like kind of the goofy, silly, whatever, and then moved into the Guardians of the Galaxy, Jurassic World, Passengers, Magnificent Seven.
now he's Mario.
and well, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that one. I don't have a good Mario.
Killed for him.
Yeah.
Crushed.
Woohoo! I see. It's not a good. Is that a Mario?
Well, he just talks.
Mario?
That's the thing is, Chris
Mario.
Pratt.
This is Ryan's like wheelhouse.
Bro, Chris
Mario.
Pratt does Mario, but he just does his own voice.
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't
does
even
Chris
do
Pratt.
a Mario
Yeah.
voice. He's just like, yeah, I'm just Chris Pratt as
he's
Mario.
like, I'm Mario. I'm Mario.
Yeah, like a little happier. That's all he does.
Yeah.
That's the acting.
But that is. I think his career is just. I would love to be the funny comic relief, but then
What would you ask him?
what
if you
ask
were me?
Ryan?
Go ahead. What you got for me?
No, let me think of a serious one because I had like 7 funny ones popped in my head.
Just
Yeah. What should I be talking to Ryan about?
I
in his
think
career?
this isn't a question. This is more of a statement. But I think Ryan is one of the smarter people I've met in this world of turning his type of content, like very childish and gamified and whatever, into a very successful business on the back end.
Yeah,
so
it's
I guess
wild.
so.
It's
How
wild.
I guess that's my question. How do you go from doing Scooby Doo type content, which you have self-described
Oh, I
as
agree. Yeah,
Scooby Doo type content, into landing these big consulting jobs where you're helping people grow social medias?
Ooh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So
Like, what's the?
for context first, I don't know how many of my videos you've ever watched long form.
I can't get through the first 30 seconds.
Dude, to be
Just
honest
saying,
with you,
just saying,
to be
30
honest
seconds
with
is
you,
like-
I don't watch most of my videos either.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, but I think the only way to have leveraged my audience into something further would have been to flip it into like a show for a main distributor or main platform, right? Like I have friends who are in a similar niche who are now action figures in Target and they're selling the rights to their IP to like Nickelodeon.
Yeah, no, Double Dare.
It would have been,
That's what I call in my head. You're Double Dare. You're Mark Summers from way back when.
It would have been something like that.
You
and
can kind of look like him a little.
Yeah, I didn't want to go for that, so I haven't really pursued it ever.
Yeah, wait.
A struggle with my career also is my content was kind of stolen pretty heavily by other people. Like like they literally would just take the same titles, thumbnails, hire my actors to do the exact same video that I did.
What are their names?
I'm not going to do that. I'll show
Who
you.
are they?
No, because I'm like kind of friends with the guy now, which is probably a mistake on my part.
I don't like the guy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Anyway, move on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about this part.
Well, we'll talk.
But
We'll come back to it.
There's
a lot of hours. I booked it so we can just drag this out.
Dude, I could talk about.
We can do 3-4 episodes off this.
I could talk about this for all of this industry. I could talk about this all day.
I know.
So there's a big thing on YouTube where bigger creators can steal a smaller creator's idea and have higher viewership on it. I have had someone steal my idea and then their audience comes to my video and tells me that I'm stealing from them, even though I posted 3 months before them. Have you ever had that happen?
By the way, this happened to me 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So that's just to give some context. So your question was, how do you leverage that type of content into career
into
on the
the
back?
consulting.
So,
but not just the consulting. You're landing these like large companies consulting gigs, not just like whatever.
These things you gave me really good advice one of the times we were talking before, where you have to be very careful of your time being your only offer. I think you were kind of telling me.
Yeah,
so
it's the death knell.
Yeah, I am working on figuring that out, but for the most part for me, it's been build up the knowledge base and like show that you can do something, right? So become an expert in the field and then leverage the knowledge first. That's kind of like the stage I'm in now. Because I've also, before I built my channel, I helped 2 or 3 other creators build their channels, which are all far bigger than mine. I did it so much that I knew how to do it. And I didn't want to become a YouTuber. I didn't fall into it. I did something that guaranteed it would work. Does that kind of make sense? Like I strategically placed myself in the right place, made the right contracts, which were probably worse for me, but guaranteed I would have a social media career because I worked with the right people and I made the right offer to them, if that kind of makes sense.
Not really. You're gonna have to get a little.
So,
you're gonna have to get an abstraction down. Do you have a reasonable case?
I found YouTubers who were just starting out. I made the offer to work for them basically for free because I was a film student and I had nothing to offer other than my time and my labor.
Yep.
That got me the experience. They grew super rapidly and I was very integral to that. I think they would have done very well without me, to be honest, right?
Right. But you were there.
But I made sure I was there.
You were the person there. You were right on time. He was right on time.
I was right on time. Oh, should this be the Right on Time podcast?
I don't know.
No.
One of the ones is like before. I was a couple of weeks ago. I was like, it was like before you knew them, right?
Oh, that's
like,
cool too.
Because like we're not talking to the people on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not like there's a level of success that you get to where you're not interesting to someone that's like trying to figure out their way in the world. You're aspirational, but like your story and like you're not going to tell the story of losing $150,000 one day.
Sure.
Right? Like because he traded SPACs too, apparently.
I did well with that though.
No, the guy that said it did it. But
I did okay. I did okay. Back to what I was talking about. I placed myself in the right spot. I also maybe got a little bit lucky, but the first YouTube video I ever made for someone else has 155 million views on their channel for them.
That's good.
It made them millions of, like probably $1 to $2 million is my, 700,000 to 1.5 mil is my guess because it's a shorter video. I've never gotten to see, I wish I could see how much it made them. I made $0 on that shoot because I was a film kid who had no idea what he was doing. But it was like, we helped make the entire video happen. We advocated for it. We made it happen, right? Me and my one friend. Because of that success, anytime I wanted to work with them, they brought us over. I did a bunch of music videos, a bunch of long form videos.
So that person they paid you like basically the hour.
No, literally zero. No.
Zero.
They paid me for gas to drive from upstate.
Chris, you're charging too much.
And this is a huge mistake, dude. Like
Chris.
Part of me wants to beat myself up for not knowing
Cashing
better.
That. Yeah,
right, but like
learned.
I kind of view it as like that's me paying my due to get into the industry.
Yeah.
Everyone does that. I did that for 3 years.
Yeah, right. Like, and then they hired me as an editor while I was in college, and I would work until 3 a.m. editing for $7 an hour.
Yeah,
like making their first YouTube videos, and I I had to teach myself to edit.
Don't tell him your rate. I'm only paying $6
an hour.
$6.
That's pretty good for New York City, right?
Really good
Yeah.
He has to drive.
If you work 2,000
I walk
hours
his
a
dog
month,
too. I was
yeah, 2,000 hours a month, you can pay for rent here. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we all like, you know, pair of dudes. Like I would film with my buddy Josh for 5-6 hours during the day and then have to leave because I had to go work security and then the next morning do a moving job and then go film with him, and I wasn't making a dime.
Let me go back. Actually, they offered to pay me $500 for the shoot, but I found an editor and I gave all $500 to him to edit the video. So I made nothing off of it, and the money they gave me for gas, I gave to our friend who helped us on the shoot. So I was.
Do you have to be rich to get into this so you can work for free?
Nowadays, no. Anyone can make. Everybody has a cell phone. Anyone can make content these days. I will say, obviously, money's leverage.
Yeah,
so
but like, how do you get where you can actually
make a living?
not have to go to the bar, not have to move in the morning and like
you have
run
to-
and sweaty?
I think
not comb your hair. Like, can we comb his hair?
I say
Bring him to the podcast because his hair.
Yeah, if you're worried about his hair,
Should I have done it? I mean, I got my suitcase.
Yeah, just go do
that.
So I have a good answer for this. Do you want to go?
No.
So to get to the point where you're making, what's your number? Give me a number a month you want to make. $5,000, $4,000, $5,000, right?
My rent's $5,000.
Okay, 5,000. Gee, okay, well, so for most people, that's a lot of rent. That's
Well,
LA.
that's not what a parking spot.
Yeah.
That's just
Without a parking spot?
it's in the,
New York City's crazy, man. Okay, that's why I don't live here. So I think, especially, we've been speaking at UConn and meeting a lot of students, and a lot of people don't even understand how you can monetize in 2024, how you can make money through content creation. And it goes so much further than just being in front of the camera and being talent. The skill set, editing, producing, ideating, coordinating, right? All those pieces, there are full systems and markets for that in the social media sphere, in my opinion, right? UGC is a huge one we talk about, which like user-generated content. You're a brand, you want a video, you pay me, I make you the video, and I give it to you, you pay me $500, right? So I think the biggest thing would first, you got to get educated on what you can do, because I have a belief that most people think it's ad revenue or brand deals, or you have to hit it big to make a living, and that's completely incorrect.
I mean, I'm a perfect case study of that. I have friends who have way more followers than me on all platforms that I'm keeping up with financially because I understand that I am a business and I understand how the business side works.
they're not as good looking as you.
And that helps. So if you want to be successful, just be 6'5" with a beard, have a nice fade, look good in a hat or without a hat.
He gets to look good, but I have to be smart to keep up.
That's why
That's clear. We knew that. There's a camera here. This is not just radio. You know, you're on YouTube. Like, we know.
That's why we work, man.
Yeah, no, I mean.
He does all my thinking.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, and I know that's not to be true, right? Like, I mean, how do you balance that when you're starting, right? Like, I mean, how do you balance that? I need to make money, and I know I'm worth something, but like, I need to get in the door.
If you want to get in the door into just social,
No, I mean, just like so.
Anything,
and I'm not
any
even
career.
I'm not even talking about how do you balance it in real life. The answer in real life is you go and work and like you put your head down and you week to week you take steps. But how do you do it psychologically? Because like we're talking to these kids in class, right? And it's like they hear you, but they don't hear you.
Yeah.
So
right, like what's it like to not have money on Friday night?
Yeah, it's I spend a lot of Fridays with no money. It's tough, but I think to answer your question, to get to the point where you can make money on social media and not have to work those other jobs, you have to be willing to work those other jobs. Like for me, you know, I wouldn't quit a job. I maintained 5 manual labor jobs for the first probably 4 to 6 months that I was doing socials, and then I would let one go because I was doing more on social. And then another 4 to 6 months, 6 to 8 months goes, then I would let one go. And you know this too, because you ran into me at one of my jobs. I worked in the nightlife for 7 years before I
Can I not go see you? Can I not get a table now? Because like I've been telling people I can get a table.
Like, you
probably
get a table.
you probably could.
Look, anything in LA you ever need, just shoot me a text. I got you covered. No worries.
But you're not doing that.
No, I'm
When did you let that go?
Like a week after you saw me.
Why?
Because he
Well,
saw
you
you
actually
and
saw
he never wanted that to happen
He's like, "I don't
again.
know."
David Sear, I'm
By the
out.
way, I was just for everyone. They don't know this. I was at the wrong restaurant.
he was at
I was
the
at the wrong
wrong
restaurant,
place.
and
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
heard
remember
some.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard some. So here, from my perspective, I'm
Yeah.
texting, walking head down, like going to meet. Like I have a dinner. It's it's a good restaurant,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
it's a
very-
5-star fancy, LA
like,
famous people
You're
restaurant.
going famous people, exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm going to meet someone that would fall into that with my boss, and
Yeah.
like I'm just texting and like, oh, I'll be right there, blah blah blah. And I hear the voice talking to some girls, and he's like, yeah, well, you really got to have a reservation or something. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, look up, and I'm like, well, I got a reservation. And so he looks in, he's like, under who?
Because I didn't even look up. I didn't even
have a
look up.
reservation.
I just wasn't watching. I didn't look up, and then I see him. I'm like, oh, this guy. And I let him in front of all these people
yeah, and
who I
they let
just
me in,
didn't
and
let
then I
in.
didn't have a reservation.
Oh yeah, you weren't even going there.
I was
Yeah.
going to a
It's
different.
the
I
wrong
don't even.
spot.
Yeah, it was. By the way, it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have
it
been.
wasn't as
It
good.
wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It was a decent restaurant that we went to. It was the same caliber, brand type thing, but it wasn't as
It
good.
wasn't as good.
Well, so
And I don't particularly like the restaurant.
my
The one over here, I'm not a fan of. I've never been in LA.
go to the steak one here. It's better.
I've been in the steak one in LA, but
The
I've
steak
never been
one,
the one here.
steak one here is better,
All right.
honestly. So my whole thing behind that was I used to run clubs in Santa Monica, and I was like the operations of these clubs, and so pre-COVID, I worked my way up at this one club as high as you could be. The only person I answered to was the owner, and the owner was never there, so everybody always answered to me type thing, and so.
Do you like being the boss?
I did. I enjoyed it. But then at the same time, it was also like, I don't drink, I don't party, I'm not going out to find women. So like me in that environment, like it just didn't really match up type thing. But like I enjoyed
That's
being
actually
the boss.
the best scenario.
Yeah,
to
no,
match up.
100%. Because like I
money's
saw,
not disappearing.
Yeah, I
There's
saw
not
what it did
drugs
to
in the
other people.
bathroom.
Oh, yeah, it did
Nobody's
great.
drunk, passed out.
It was great.
If you own a bar, by the way,
Yeah.
that's
That's
what
great.
you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of responsibility on my shoulders for, at the time I was, 27, 28. And there's, I was,
That math
I was the
doesn't work.
one. Why?
You're only like 24, 25.
Yeah,
how's
that's
that
right. I'm thinking in the future.
Yeah.
And so,
Figure
So,
yourself.
maybe you could be with Emma Stone. Who knew?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knew? Emma is waiting for you.
I wish. God, she's beautiful. Okay, so anyway,
Not in real
leading
life,
up to
but in the movie.
leading
In a
up
movie.
to
And in real
Yeah,
life,
like, you
eventually,
just ruined-
one
you just
day.
ruined your chance to
Yeah,
work
one
with
day.
her.
No,
Like,
no. There's a lot of these actors do that. They plan their co-star based on who they.
No, I get it, but
No.
you don't go on a podcast of nobody and
She might
with
see it.
7. Well, she'll see
It worked for Travis Kelce
watches.
getting
She
Taylor Swift.
watches this.
She watches.
She watches
It
yeah.
worked for Travis Kelce getting Taylor
I'm
Swift.
sending it to her.
Can we do a couple?
Is she
hang
rep
on,
by
hang on.
UTA?
Real quick, let's do a couple different clips.
Okay, go.
Emma Stone, I think you're gorgeous. What's up? That's one.
One more take.
Jennifer Lawrence, if you're watching this right now, you're just. Got a couple more real quick. Who's another one?
Can we just send an individual podcast to each one for every?
If they work for UTA, yes.
We can get this in front of somebody.
And so I was back to when I was running that club. The few months leading into COVID were the most successful months financially I've ever had in my life. Between acting, between modeling, and social media. At the time, I had a few videos blow up, and were paying really, really well. So for the 4 to 6 months leading into COVID, I was making anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 a month, and that was the most money I had ever made up to that point. And I was running the club, and so I booked 4 jobs, modeling jobs, over the course of the next 6 months.
What were you modeling?
So
Because I really see you as like a hand model.
Yeah. So I am. This is a side of me that a lot of social media doesn't know because I do keep it under wraps. But like, it's something I am proud of. I'm repped by like 5 or 6 different modeling agencies
Yeah, I know.
across
They're
the
on
world.
your
And,
little.
yeah, and like Wilhelmina and some like really big
Yeah.
name ones.
Yeah,
And
I know all of them.
so I do a bunch of.
I don't know any
I
of
mean,
them.
I do.
No, I'm interested in
Like
in
the biggest shoots I've done have been for like I did Calvin Klein, Levi's.
What's
I
your
work with
favorite
Macy's a
shoot?
lot.
A big one.
The Calvin Klein was cool, but the Levi's was a lot of fun because
Underwear?
we had a bunch of different. No, I did the Calvin Klein suits.
Suits.
Yeah,
What did they
suits.
pay you?
Stay classy.
Do you remember?
Calvin Klein was, I want to say it was like $5K a day, and
So
it was for 2
$5K a
days.
day.
I got a question
the
for you.
biggest, The biggest the biggest payday I ever had for modeling was an underwear shoot, and it was $10K a day.
I'm not gonna put people out there, but I mean there were actresses doing shoe modeling, you know, for shoe market, doing like pulling less than that, and like their names.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Pulling less than $5,000 a day doing shoe market.
Well, a lot of the money from modeling comes from usage. So like the underwear shoot, for example, I got paid a lot day rate, but if they were to, they have a year usage, if the next year they just decided, okay, we're just going to rebuy the usage, it would have doubled. So they would have paid me $20K just for me to not shoot again. So like a lot of money comes from usage rates. I just did a Dick's Sporting Goods commercial in December, and for the actual shoot, I got paid okay. But then they went ahead and opted into buying 6 months usage with the option for another 6 months, which was more than double what I got. So that's where a lot of the good money comes from.
What's the deal size that you're not even looking at this point?
My day rate is $2,500. So if it's not $2,500, then typically, but that's not me. That's like what my agents have. Right. And there's a couple times like I where I will work with clients that I've worked with for 6 years.
I call you up and want to do a post. How much is it?
A post or for
let's
modeling?
do a post.
What platform?
What platform?
My own.
Oh, for content for you.
Yeah. I'm a business. Just call me any business.
So that's a UGC deal.
UGC, depending on usage and whitelisting, I say like $1,500.
All right.
Yeah.
How about you? If I call you up and say, Ryan, I need a YouTube long form.
Oh, a YouTube long form. Oh, sorry. For Ryan. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
For you?
Sorry.
Yeah. No, not for me, David. Not for David.
That I'm posting on
I'm expecting at least a 20-30% discount. Right.
Yeah. But if
any random person calls you up and says, hey, I need this, you're the perfect guy to do it.
Wait, what's the soda y'all are sponsored by?
Culture Pop.
Culture Pop. Okay, so
Culture Pop. Strawberry Rhubarb. I call you up. I want you to do something long form
on
your channel.
So honestly, I'm in a position where I do pass on a lot of deals if I just don't.
I would assume so.
Feel like doing it.
So what is the deal that gets it done?
You don't want to do Culture Pop. You say, I'm not doing Culture Pop. I want to do this. What's the deal that you're gonna do? And like say minimum.
So
comp.
30 to 90 second integration, I'll take 6 to 8 probably.
Okay. Yeah.
I like there's times if it's like something I actually like, I'll do a little bit lower. If it's a fully dedicated video.
Is it actually like or actually use?
Actually use. That's a better way to put it. Like
and that's a different ballgame,
yeah.
right?
So if it's like a video game I play, if it's something that I actually use, like if it's like a PlayStation ad for a game that I like, I'll do it I would do it just because I want the relationship with the brand. So I do $1,000. If it's a fully dedicated video, anywhere from 15 up.
Perfect. Yeah. All right, we're gonna come back with the next episode.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah, let's do it.
Love that.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love this.
Thank you for watching this episode of Creatorship.
A really interesting, this is as a sidebar, there's
God,
not a lot of people who I actually get to talk about the business with. So I do enjoy it. It's cool.
Right.
It's a cool
that's our niche.
Okay, let me pee real
And
quick.
guess what? Guess who likes to watch about the business?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, baby.
What's up, baby girl?
Where's Anna?
No, but the market is people that want to do it, but guess who will also watch? And people that are struggling.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where there's not a lot of opportunities for us as creators to talk about not just how much money, but how to make money without sounding like D-bags. Because you don't
100%.
want to go in there and say like,
look, how did we get? Like I texted you, like, hey, let's talk about some of the finances. Like we can draw a line, you can say whatever, but like we consciously made a decision not to say like, here's the questions we want to ask you.
Yeah.
And then we also consciously picked that topic with you guys because I felt like there would be enough trust to be able to go do it. Whereas had we gotten into this with Jack, it would have been like he would have. You know what I mean?
Jumping in while he's in the bathroom.
Yeah,
stealing
him. If we would ask Jack or anyone else, it would have been not as authentic. Like it just wouldn't have been there wasn't a layer of trust when he walked in the door to go talk about a topic like that.
You don't know him yet. Yeah. The thesis here is like, even like some of, I don't want to necessarily those people on the wall, but like quite a few people that come through the studio here that have huge audiences, like still don't know what they're doing at all on the monetization side. Yeah. So like, the more that people talk about the different ways that they're able to make money, I don't think it's a hindrance to their business. So why not talk about it so that you can figure out how to get a bag either from like monetizing the audience in a ethical way or working with companies and actually, because this is an unestablished business so far.
Yeah, and I think too, like there's this like negative stigma of like creators don't talk to other creators about their deals, which is so like you're only hurting yourself.
First time I walked into the basketball locker room, April 22. I was like, you guys are like teammates. If you can't talk to each other about what you're doing, how much you're charging, where it's
You
going,
have to.
you have no one in the world you can talk to about this.
In general, I feel like it's also kind of like the country we live in. Most of the time, people don't talk about how much they make to other people. It's almost like a taboo.
Or it's just a flex.
Well, so here's the flip side of that coin. When I'm talking to Ryan, right? Like Ryan and my buddy Josh, who I started social media with, are the ones who kind of taught me that like when you're talking to people in your field, you should just be transparent and open.
Yeah.
The red flag to that is when I tell people that I do content creation, 70% of the time, their next question is, how much money do you make doing that? But I would never ask a doctor, how much money you make as a doctor? Like as the first question.
You did that to me the other day in front of an entire class of people.
Well, yeah, but we were talking
it wasn't
about
in
it.
mine.
Not in yours, in the other class.
No, we were talking about it.
He's like, how much you make? And I was like,
Well, like I said that half as a joke, but it is one of those things.
So they
where,
publish my salary on the internet.
Oh, crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Google.
What do we type in?
I'm almost at the point. So like, all right. So like, here's the thing. Like, it looks like this. They have this plot map, and I'm almost at the bottom of the onion, right? Like, so any university, you get down to the bottom, and then the highest salaries start. And then you got Hurley at $6 million all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm almost at the point where you're gonna look at a dot and click on it and see my face. Right.
Nice.
Like, so that's the goal. Then I can quit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, got to get to the bottom of the onion. But no, I mean, I think it's there. It's so like for us in our field, it's like, well, you can lie, but you can lie within a $20,000 range because like someone's going to go on the internet and see it within.
Well, if you Google my net worth,
It's
my nieces live in Texas. They'll text me and ask me we want a new Apple Air, whatever, blah, blah, blah for Christmas. I'm like, what? What do you think this is? Like, you think I'm rich? And they're like, yeah, Google yourself. And I think the last time they Googled me, it was like something crazy, like 15 mil or something. I'm
dude.
like, I don't know where that money's at all.
Whoa,
And
I got to
like,
talk to you about this bridge.
I'm like,
I got a bridge right over here.
What's going on?
I got a friend
I don't know
who-
where it comes from, but
I have a friend, when you search he makes probably around what I do, and when you Google his name, it says like $250 million.
dang, you make 250 million?
No,
Damn,
no.
Ryan
My
Prunty.
friends.
Why don't we know Ryan Prunty's
I
name
don't
pulling
know.
that down?
It's
What can I
crazy.
say, guys? But also, just back to the how much I charge for things for a second. It also depends on like season, obviously.
I want to buy an hour of your time. How much are you going to charge me
without you being a friend,
without being a friend?
and I'm just giving you general
I
like
just
advice.
call you up.
What should we say? Should we say our
Consulting.
number at the same time?
For an hour.
Yeah, for an hour.
Like
1,
should I-
2, 3.
Wait,
We'll go 1, 2,
man, I don't know
3,
if I
we'll
can do this
Oh, you.
because you're.
Do you have other companies?
Because no, see, the thing is, we want to work with him in the future, and if we put ourselves too low, he's gonna be like, oh, "That's how much you guys charge." All right, yeah, you go.
Well,
for
then
it.
no. Now that you say that,
Yeah,
how much?
How much for you?
How much
Yeah,
are
how
you
much for
willing
you?
to give us an hour?
yeah.
Definitely $7.
Okay, I'll take that.
At least
deal.
Yeah,
deal.
7.
I was gonna say
7.
3.5, but you
Jeez.
said 7.
We're gonna show.
Say the number. Okay.
No, let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
You want to do it?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3,
600.
550.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's pretty close. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So
I wouldn't answer the phone for less than $5,000. Period, minimum.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do 1 hour for 500. If you pay me $5,000, I'll give you maybe a day, maybe a half a day. But I'm not answering the phone.
So
For the transaction cost for under $5,000, I'm not answering the phone.
So, David, can you manage us?
Yeah, I will.
We-
No, I mean,
please
I'm
give us
not,
some more
but
bread
nobody
pussy.
calls me.
Because they can't afford
Because
you,
they don't know
man.
me. Yeah, no, they can. So, I mean, like, if you think about it, where would my audience be? It would be corporate speaking events, right?
Yeah.
Internal corporate speaking events, not public ones. Because internally, people care much less about who you are and more about what you do and what you know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I guess,
And those lunch events, those, you think a doctor's thing, whatever.
In that case, then
an hour is $5 to $10,000.
Yeah, in that case, then I would say it changed. I thought you more meant like the consulting wise.
No, I was asking consulting.
Okay, gotcha.
But
like if someone's doing
I don't
20
do
hours
anything,
a week, if someone's asking,
I don't do anything that's apples to
Gotcha.
apples.
Because if it's
But I'm
like
just not-
if a company's asking and they're like, hey, we want 20 hours of your time.
then you figure it out.
And
you're looking.
I always work backwards. I know what I want to make.
February might be
and
cheaper than June, or June might be cheaper than February.
How do you
see the future?
How do you find the? This is just a true business question to you, if that's cool.
Yeah, go.
How do you get to the point where you find the audience for those rates? Because I do think there are some people who would pay. Like I have consulting clients who are on. I have them on the books for 5 figures a month, right? Low, really, really low 5 figures a month. But
including the decimal 200.
Yeah, $300, right? But like, and I kind of tried to work backwards hourly, where I was like, yeah, like I want $4 to $6.50 an hour when I work with this person. But how do you? Because I do think our information is extremely valuable, especially
you say no.
You say no. But how do you get in front of the right people, right? Because what we want to do is
you tell me, I'll tell you. You know what I mean? Like again, I don't
doing
know the
math,
answer.
I'm not texting.
Some of it is like, all right, here's what I'm afraid to do. I'm afraid to tell too many people.
Sorry, I'm looking at his
No,
math right now.
I'm doing math.
Okay.
He's doing
we're doing
15
that.
plus 30.
42. Great.
What?
15 plus 30. Is that what you want to know?
Yeah.
That is definitely not 42. I'm a math savant, right?
I am too, actually. Did you know that?
Are you a math savant?
Yeah. I tested out of all math for college and high school in freshman year. So I didn't take math.
37 times 54. Go.
No.
He's not that type of savant.
Hey, I'm not that type of
I
savant.
have to be able to
It's
see.
always
I have to
an
be able to see.
asterisk.
11 times
I can
29.
757.
That's
I forgot what I
that's
said.
not even close.
It's 301,
Numbers.
but 309.
What'd you say?
I said like 57 times 32.
Yeah,
Math's
it's
hard,
34. You said 57 times 34. I have to be able to see things.
Yeah.
I don't work off of hearing.
Yeah, same.
But when I look at something, I can understand it. It's a weird.
Math
it's a
just
weird,
makes sense
So
to me. You can
what's
just see it.
does.
Here's a question: what's more valuable?
Let me answer the last question.
Sure.
I'm afraid sometimes to put myself out there in that way. And I think some of the pieces are the initial steps for me. It's not like I'm afraid to call Coca-Cola and say like, hey, I'll do that Innovation Fest or whatever. It's the pieces that go beyond the area where I'm really good that I'm afraid to do those pieces. So the people that I see in my industry that are able to drive that value oftentimes work through a different platform, right?
Okay.
I mean, so example, he'll probably listen at some point. Thomas Wettelsberg, he wrote this book called What's the Problem, I think. It's a great book, and it's all about solving the right problem. Most people solve the wrong problem, and so they never get a good conclusion. So, and his point was like, I wrote this book and this other book, and like I make $2 a copy, and it sold 10,000 copies. That's not a living, right? But having sold that book, now people know to ask for me, and he ended up on the speaker circuit.
So
right?
it validates.
And it validates
Interesting.
the value that someone's paying for. So like for me, I would call you for like, and this is where I thought you were going with doing your own social, is like, well, okay, why would I trust someone that says they can grow my social if they don't have 1.7 million YouTube views?
Yeah.
So like that's almost like your book.
So that's how I've been usually approached, is people seeing that I've done it before and that I've done it for other people. And I can't promise the information I give you will grow you, but I can promise that the steps and tactics will help, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, of course. You got it. Like you have to do it, and you still like, and especially if you want to build a YouTube channel, you have to be interesting. And I understand why you found Caleb, right? Like and work with Caleb because he's interesting, right? I mean, like, that's not a compliment. It's just like we're not complimenting. It's just
Can
like
we get that clip? Can you cut that clip?
Just that clip?
No, but you're interesting in a couple ways. You're actually funny. So like one of the things we're like, oh, you want an interesting podcast? Get a comedian.
Yeah.
Right? Like, duh.
Yeah.
You want a clippable podcast?
You know, you, for sure. Then like, the other piece is like, and we did talk about this in class this week, is like the self-deprecating part
Yeah.
adds an element, right? And like there's these other, but the willingness to say yes to doing something. Like I can see how you came together.
Yeah.
Because like if you said no, probably like 10% more, you guys would have never melded.
Yeah.
I think the biggest, well, there's a few things, but one of the reasons I've had any type of success in Los Angeles, and when I say success, I mean just being able to make it,
Right.
like, and friendships and whatever in Los Angeles, is because I made it an effort that I will say yes to everything within reason, not like yes to everything
Some things,
offered to me.
Everything.
I would say yes to experiences, and so now
That's a good one.
Let's call it open to yes.
Yeah, well, I've created this reputation that if you need someone, if you need to FaceTime someone, if you need something for you call me and I will say yes. And so like from my friends, they all know that I will show up. I mean, when Ryan first called me with the Yukon opportunity in October, it took a grand total of 2 seconds for me to say, yeah, let's do
He had
it.
to check his calendar. That was it.
Yep.
And even then, that was a fake check my calendar.
Yeah. I gotta look.
Oh, you knew, but you had to act like it? I like that.
No, I was in New York at the time, but my friends know that I'm just willing to say yes, and so for the perfect
So they
example
come to you.
of the self-deprecating thing or the willingness to say yes. We're at UConn this week, and Ryan says, "Wouldn't it be funny if Caleb gets tackled by the defensive line?"
And
Took
then
me
he's
like
like,
7 seconds to be
okay,
like-
I'll do it.
Like, I don't. Okay, let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so it's just the willingness to.
People will ask me all the time, how have you had this weird set of experience? How do you get all these things? Why does so-and-so, how do you know that person, this, and like all this? And I'm like, well, the power of saying yes to things is really
Yeah.
opening.
Yeah,
Right?
huge.
Like huge.
Step out of your comfort zone.
And I mean, I wasn't always comfortable getting on a private jet or going to someone's house that's worth $25 million, right?
Yeah.
Like those are obstacles for a lot of people where they're so far out of their element that they forget to be people,
Yeah.
right? And so I don't know. I look at so I had a recent experience where someone gave me their jersey. Actually, it meant a lot to me because it was a unique jersey. And I got in the car and the person said, "Did you ask for them the autograph?" I'm like, "No." And I was like, in fact, it was awkward to take it. And I was like, I kind of felt like I had to go to my closet and get this person a jersey, right?
From you,
like a shirt or something. Like they just gave me this thing, like, oh, here. And like they were used to that. And I was like, well, why didn't you ask for the autograph? I'm like, well, they didn't ask me for an autograph.
So why would I? Yeah.
Why would I ask them?
Yeah.
He's like, well, clearly that person was like, who the fuck are you? Right? And I was like, well, there's a Hall of Fame that I'm going to be in. I just don't know which one.
Yeah. There
So
you go.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that from being open to these things, but I treat people like people.
Yeah.
And therefore, if they're the poorest people in the room or the richest, they treat me the same.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's important.
I'm not an employee.
Yeah.
And you develop these human relationships and then you end up in all these rooms.
Yep.
And so it's a similar thing. You say yes to content, you're going to end up in content.
And I think a big part of it too is like saying yes to the, not to say this would be an easy, the like getting on a private jet is easy, yes, because if that's out of your comfort zone, then yeah, but also being able to say yes to the like perfect example, I had a friend who was shooting like 3 music videos in one day because she wanted to release this whole whatever. No pay. Just like friends, whatever your stomach growling.
Yeah, my
just
bad.
friends, whatever. It could have been very easy for me to be like, no, like I don't want to be standing
get a
around
cookie.
all day. Yeah, you need a cookie.
You needed a
You know,
cookie.
I don't want
I
to stand
had food.
around
Did
all
you
day.
eat?
Yeah,
You good?
I'm
had
good.
one.
I had a cookie and an apple.
I had
I'm good.
a muffin at 7 a.m.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
And so I said yes to it, and then on the set, I meet a guy who's now one of my really good friends, who is a very established actor, who also, by the way, could have asked for 6 figures to be on that music video shoot, but he, as a friend,
Well,
he was
it's
like
also-
yes, and then now he's just like a really close friend who's in big TV shows, who has gotten me auditions just because
Your friends.
we're buddies.
This is a big thing that we talk to the students about too, is that try to give more than you take, right? I feel like that's a big,
Like bring something to the table. If you're gonna collab with a big YouTuber, if I go to Ryan because he's got a big following, and I don't really know him that well, but like we kind of know each other. And I'm like, hey man, like I would love to film some stuff with you. And he says, okay, great. What are we filming? And I say, well, I don't know. What do you want to film? Well, I'm not bringing anything to him that makes him want to work with me. But if I'm a smaller YouTuber, a smaller creator, or don't have anything, and I say, Brian, I got a really good idea for you that I would love to be a part of, but I think you would crush it. Now, chances are he's going to want to work with me in the future because I'm bringing something to the table, not just asking for something in return.
I actually stopped collaborating with people a lot because I had so many more people approach me just asking to be in my content. Like, hey, when are you going to put me in a video?
When are you going to put me in a video?
Yeah. I'll put you in a video.
I'll put you in my video.
I appreciate
you
that. But like,
put me in your video.
And you could tell we got
the right order here.
They were approaching it because they just wanted to get eyes on them. They didn't care at all about my content.
Yeah.
But the people who, like what you're saying, just wanted to be a part of it and help, those are the people who I would always work with.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, same thing. Like, people close to me will say, why are you helping? What are you getting paid to do that, right? And I'm like, paid? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it,
Like, I'm doing an intro with this investor and like the production company, what are you getting paid? Well, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
Like I actually can't.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to because we want to do business with it. But I want to see it exist, and I want the people running it.
Yeah,
like there's a reciprocal trade of credits, right? Like there's going to be a point where, hey, I really want to do this documentary. How do we do it?
And they'll help you out.
And they'll help me out.
Right? I have a similar relationship to people who are developing some apps. Like they don't pay me anything. I just give them time just because I believe in what they're doing and want to have a relationship with them. So similar to kind of what you're saying. For me also, most of the time when I do something uncompensated financially, like usually it's because I just want to educate myself and I want to learn, right? So like I will go and work with really big YouTubers for a week at a time. Not so much anymore, but like I've done shoots where we go on these massive shoots in Texas and they rent out an entire football stadium for the day. It's $50,000 just to rent the stadium. They fly out 30 YouTubers from all across the country. And I go and I just ask their production people questions, trying to learn how they do something at such a large scale.
I've had a multi-$100 million education in the last 5 to 6 years raising money for the University of Connecticut. Because I get to sit across the table from people and ask them to tell me about their life. It's essentially where this podcast came from. I just focused in on what I wanted it to be, right? There's plenty out there where they interview entrepreneurs or finance. Like, I've gotten that education for free.
Sure.
From time spent trying to do my job. How can you imagine a better situation? It's free.
Yeah, I have a friend who was working with me who I love the guy, but all the time he would get really mad at me for spending time with people who were very successful, uncompensated. He would like yell at me. He's like, you're not getting anything out of this. And I would have to keep telling him that I feel like the knowledge that you can get from people and the experience that you can have vicariously through them can be infinitely more valuable. I don't know. I feel like that's a mentality that not a lot of people adopt.
Pre-COVID, when I was making the most I was making, I quit my night job because I was like,
that was in the previous episode.
Yeah, the previous episode. So
go back and watch that one.
Go watch that one.
Yeah.
But it ties into this is I quit night job because I was like, I had these 4 jobs lined up over the course of 6 months. It was going to be my first six-figure year in the course of 4 months. Then COVID hits. Booked a pilot for a show. It got canceled. 4 photo shoots got canceled. Don't have the night job anymore, so my income has now been cut 85%. Right?
How'd that feel?
I mean, it's a shot to the. To be honest with you, at first it was a shot to the gut to not have the jobs anymore. But I'm thinking selfishly, kids are going to be at home watching YouTube. I'm fine. First month, that is the truth.
You had that thought?
Yes, 100%. First month, that is the truth of. It did really well. And then something happened with the algorithm. Things changed. Entertainment started to go down because they were pushing
21?
20.
20, yeah.
Entertainment videos started to go down. And because they were pushing, obviously, science and at-home education and all these things on YouTube, whatever.
Which is a public thing that YouTube came out and said that they were pushing that type of content.
Yeah.
And neither of us fit into that at all.
So anyway,
yeah,
all these things happened, right? After we started to come out of it, I told myself I would never quit a night job again because realistically, night jobs didn't interfere with what I was doing. I told myself I would never quit a night job again until I physically couldn't.
Did you
work
just quit
it
a
anymore.
night job?
But that's where I was going with this.
You're cutting off my story.
I know. But you asked me why did I quit, and it ties into what he was saying. Now, if he was giving his time to bigger people to learn, I quit my night job because I realized it was starting to interfere with opportunities that were going to advance the career I actually wanted.
Yeah.
It was a great, consistent
It got
check.
you there.
It got me a lot of connections. It got my foot in the door with a lot. I met a producer, director, and actor who's a good buddy of mine now, who has now attached his name to one of my scripts because I worked that night job. So like a lot of great things came out of it, but I started realizing I was turning down opportunities to shoot with bigger YouTubers. I was turning down opportunities to travel because I was the only person who worked that position at that job. So I couldn't.
Aren't you already just like, aren't you already a working, like you say, I want to get into this, but you are. Like YouTube's the largest television station in the world.
Yeah. And you are
And
right.
you own
yeah.
your own
yeah.
you own your own piece.
Yeah. And you are correct in that. And so I realized I wasn't able to learn from people anymore because I was always working.
Like
my
your
night
horse
job.
trick shot people don't care about this conversation, but I mean, can't you create a different channel? Like, can't you create a different channel that shows your funniness?
You also don't
Yeah,
have to.
I
I have.
Your
mean,
comedy,
well, honestly,
but
you're-
not
you're-
your physical, maybe not your physical humor. In
Yeah.
the way.
Well, you're speaking on what I have been, and honestly, this is probably going to be the push I needed. But I have been playing with the idea for a while of starting a new channel that is just like actual, not skits, but like kind of
Right.
shorts. So maybe like 8 to 10 minute short films, pretty much.
This is why creatorship, right? Is like, because you can just create that now.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it before. You could build a whole studio. Like there's no reason you couldn't build Paramount 35, 40 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could do it starting with your camera.
Yeah.
I mean, and you don't even actually have to have a camera.
So
You could do something,
yeah.
you could be creating something that someone else captures and start to build it.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I have like I said this on the last one, but I have ownership of multiple channels just for syndicating their content in strategic ways and publishing it, right? Because like I don't know if you know this, like I come from a group where we
I
had
know nothing.
Oh, you know nothing about? Okay, great.
Yeah,
So-
and I know you.
In
I know
general,
you,
yeah. Go ahead, chime in on that one.
It was in the notes. You're talking about, I
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
the name of it, the Rare?
Take like Team RAR, which
RAR.
I hated the branding of that so
Yeah.
much, and I was
He's
so
going to name your podcast, by the way. No, we'll just keep that in mind.
No, I didn't get. I had no say in the name because I wasn't the first YouTuber in
I
the group.
loved the branding, Carter.
We've done the studio thing, like where we
Right.
were basically an incubation stage for a bunch of creators, where we had a giant house that everyone came to every day, and
That's how we met.
We had 15 or 20 employees, so I had a team of 4 people or 5 people at the time. My friend Liz, 4 or 5 people. My friend Stove, 2 or 3 editor producers. My friend Carter, 4 or 5 people, and we all came and treated this giant house in LA. It's like the classic YouTube.
Yeah, it's so boring. Why don't we buy a giant house in Stores, Connecticut?
Because it's Stores, Connecticut.
I think
Well-
that's the whole point.
No, so here's the thing: is we now tried the same thing in Raleigh. We own a
From A&M guy.
like Team
When
RAR.
you guys learn football, call.
Our team owns a 300-acre property that we film on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work because no one wants to come and film with us. And part of the game is collaboration.
So the Stores, Connecticut house is for kids that's parents basically make them go to college or athletes. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think
like,
a
don't you
big part
think
of it-
some of the athletes you know show up because there's nowhere else to go
I
on
think-
Friday night?
I
maybe.
think yes, but the reason the house in LA was successful,
Very
the
successful,
reason
yeah.
other houses like that, creator houses, are successful is because you're surrounded with people that know this is what they want to do and create based on it. And we had a schedule. I wasn't a part of Team RAR, but there was a point where I was over there 3 times a week. And there was a schedule. I would get emailed the schedule of Ryan is shooting at this time, Carter's shooting at this time. These are the ideas. Bring this, bring this, bring this.
Oh, dude.
The organization part of it and the team and the people wanting to be there,
I think it's,
because that's what they know they want to do, is why it was successful.
So that problem isn't unsolvable. It's really easy, actually. That problem is solvable because you're marketing to kids that can't move to LA. Like they can't. That you go get those kids and bring them to the academic program.
Problem that isn't solvable is that you are still completely reliant on specific people performing at a certain level every day, and people burn out and want to stop. which is what my group, a lot of people are going through right now, is long-term 6-year burnout, right?
So,
let's say an athlete.
So back up, you're on a 4-year. You're on a 4-year run.
Yeah, 4-year contracts.
Yeah.
Also,
let's say an athlete. You know how when I was playing basketball, I don't know how creative I would have been after a 3-hour practice.
You tell them. You actually have creators, so it's more they're coming by when they want to, and they do content with you, right? Like that's what I'm saying is like we can figure out the mechanics and everything. But I mean,
by the way, I'm not knocking it. I think it's a great idea.
No, I'm just saying I'm with you.
Is the goal it's a house that's like a studio space?
I don't have a goal. We're just
yeah,
spending business.
No,
on
I like
this.
it. I like it.
How do you develop a business in this space that isn't simply going on YouTube? I think that's I think if the answer was you run a YouTube channel, you run an Instagram account, you run this, it's pretty straightforward. But I think why this becomes interesting across the board in podcasts, writing, newsletters, emails, all this stuff is there's a million ways to create.
Yeah.
And like nobody really know, like, yeah, this is an easy monetization method here, but how do you make this a business, like a real business? And creator economy was sexy and hot for a period of time, and then Spotify lost like $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
And like
Twitch is going under.
Twitch is going under.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's actually set up on the ground level as a real business, and even the ones that look like they are, some of the biggest accounts in the world. And that's why you have this consulting piece, is because you're replacing family working on people's accounts with actual people. And I think in 10 years from now, you're gonna have people that have studied specifically these things.
It's been so cool for us to go to UConn, especially this last week, and see the strides they're making towards the strides athletes are making from the last time we met with them, but also the school itself having classes dedicated towards, like, your class is really cool. You know what I mean? Like, one of your assignments was going,
you're not the first person that ever said that.
But I'll take it.
Take the teacher, you can sub any other teacher in there, but whatever. But like I would have loved if I had a class where like our assignment for the day was to go create content with 2 other people in the class. Like I love that. And so I think it's been really cool for us to travel to UConn specifically and be able to.
There's an entrepreneurial approach to that class, right? Is like, we don't know what's holding them back. We just know there are things holding them back.
Yeah.
And I think that, you grew up wanting to be an actor. There's kids growing up wanting to be Ryan.
Yeah.
Like 100%. You don't have that many. Like, they look at, not only in the last episode, you talked about them not knowing that it's like a job and there's editing and there's all these things. But like, they look at that and it's got to be surreal. You can't have a 1.7 million subscribers that are all bots, right? It's not Twitter.
No, I mean.
So, there's real kids that have watched you for years that are like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. And they mimic it and they do it.
Yeah. So, I get approached less by kids and more by parents being like, oh, you and your friends are on our TV at home all the time.
It's just replay.
We put you on whenever we're doing something, right?
Yeah.
Like, almost like.
You are very family friendly.
I'm very friendly. I have a few times I've ever sworn, and that's it, on my entire channel. And usually it's to sell a bit, like to sell an idea that's something.
And it's like, darn.
I've never sworn in life. Mom.
Yeah, I'm sure she believes that.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think you'd know how to.
In general, you're talking about how do you establish a business in this space that services more, and that is where my interests lie. And like, because again, I keep referencing, like, I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to run businesses or manage people or start channels or something, right? So that is where I'm hopefully shifting towards, and I think that we've been making strides in having these conversations and getting going in that direction.
I think we work really well together in the sense of like his know-how, and then like our different like specialties. It is.
It's cute.
Oh, it's a close up. Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh shoot.
We're on the big
I
screen.
gotta throw this cuteness up on the
Emma, I didn't mean it. I'm waiting for you still, I promise.
No, but I mean, I think that it is. We were talking. Do you do one? Do you do the next? Do you bring them both? Like,
Sure.
I didn't know, and then I was just like, put them both on. Let's see what they say.
Sure.
Because I think you never really know what people are thinking about doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, it's, you talk to one guest and, we can't really talk about this show that's going to come out here, and you do this and we can't, and it's like, but I think a lot of us have aspirations and dreams to build something meaningful that impact people's lives. And I think that's why, like, a basketball player, people, they say, don't make me your role model. Well, most of them actually want people to look at them,
Yeah, 100%,
right? And like, you
100%,
want to be looked at, and you want to be looked at as great. And I think, why would this be any different, right? And I still haven't figured out modeling, like the psychology of it, because it seems to be really destructive to a lot of the models.
For me and my personal story, that was my foot in. It was an accident.
Yeah.
I called this agency in Dallas to act. And they were like, to be an actor in our agency, you need this. And I was like, okay. I literally go, oh, okay, well, this was a mistake. I'm sorry. And they were like, wait. And I was like, yeah, what's up? They're like, what are your sizes? Because I told them I played college basketball. And they were like, what are your sizes? And I told them, they're like, well, we're actually looking for a young, big and tall model, and you're like the height for it. Will you come in and meet with the modeling side? And I was like, okay, sure. Then when I had my meeting with them, they said, if you sign with the modeling side, you're automatically signed to the talent side if you want to. And I said, okay, great, let's do that. Signed as the model, and they said, okay, this was on a Friday. Say, okay, you have a shoot on Monday. This is the first time we've ever had a quick turnaround like this. And I was like, okay, cool. And what I realized was I was the only
You were
person.
really, really good looking.
No, not
realized
at all.
that.
I genuinely thought there's like
Zoolander.
When,
He was
when they first
practicing
asked,
Magnum.
when they first asked, my initial thought was, why? Because like I've always thought like there's models and then there's like ugly, and I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm just tall. So I
You're
lean
just
a
tall.
little.
You're not Ryan Kalkbrenner. You're
just saying-
more than just tall.
So that was always my thought behind it. And then I realized I was at the time, and now it's different, but at the time I was the only person in my niche of a big and tall model who's under the age of 40. Because all big and tall models were like dads pretty much, because they just have like the size. And so I started booking a lot of work as a big and tall model. So it was just literally accidental. Like same with social media. I just like same with saying yes. It's they're like, do you want
it's
to?
not that
And I said,
accidental.
yes.
There's a lot, a lot of people would have just said no, I'm not a model, and hung up the phone and went to the next.
And so it was. I said yes to modeling with the purpose of acting. I said yes to a lot of things with the purpose of long term. I know where I'm going. So the psychology behind modeling, I never wanted to be a model. I never thought of myself as a model. It just kind of happened type thing. So I just want to throw that in there. I didn't think like, oh, I'm good looking, let me try to model. I know I cut you off, but anyway, that's. I just wanted to clear that.
I was just going to go to Zoolander references for the next 20 minutes. So I think he saved everybody.
Thanks. Yeah,
School for ants.
No,
Great movie.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
If you had no money involved, you can only pick one of the directions that you focus on, and you can only keep one. Which is it? Is it
Acting.
It's acting.
Acting.
Interesting.
I've always said the moment I'm a working actor making a living off of acting, I will delete social media.
That's so interesting to me, because my second question is,
I won't do it, but in the mindset, that's.
do you
that is
feel
my
like
mindset.
that's, if you focus too wide, it dilutes your potential in any of the other areas? Out of curiosity, because you do a lot of different things. They're all definitely like, in the same direction.
Yeah.
Right?
I think no, because as an actor, it's not like basketball, right? There's a formula. A plus B equals C. You practice, you put in the time, you perform in practice, you play in games. That's it. A plus B. And granted, once you get to like NBA, there's politics and stuff like that, whatever. But like for the most part.
But those are known politics as well.
For the most part.
You're a second round
that's
draft
it.
pick. You're not a lottery pick.
Exactly, right?
You're not getting the contract from there.
100%. And then there are the outliers like the Austin Reeves who don't get drafted in now, whatever.
And then move through. But they separate. Right.
But to get there was the formula of them working
you're
hard.
marginally better than a lottery pick from the second round. You don't get a contract.
Right.
You're significantly better and improving every day visibly. You get the contract.
100%.
With that.
Yeah. So there are outliers. Acting, there is no formula. You could be walking down the street and a director says, I like your look. Do you want to try to act? You could be in acting class for 10 years straight and only book one commercial. There's so many different ways you can go about it, right? So I look at it as I'm doing everything I can in the acting world. I am actively in acting classes. I have a manager and agent. I get updated headshots. I do every audition. Like, I am doing what I can. The problem I was falling into when I first moved to LA was I was sitting on my hands, diddling my thumbs, waiting for someone to call me.
Yeah.
Doing social media, writing my own scripts, acting in other people's shorts, because I do a lot of friends' shorts and like unpaid stuff just so I can get experience acting in front of camera, whatever. Doing all of that other stuff is my way of being proactive in life, not necessarily my way of like landing a role. But if I just sit around waiting for someone to call me, I'm going to drive myself nuts.
I agree.
Great. That answer, people usually have that answer. Jack last week was a writer. Like, he's doing this, he's doing that, shit posting on LinkedIn, which is amazing stuff, right? But he's a writer.
Yeah.
Like that's how he sees himself. You know, even going on camera, it's like it's a step so he can do more writing.
Right.
Right. And I find that's repeated. I like, it's not just him, not Jack. The guy from Updating, he was a comedian, right? Like, and he's a comedian. And I think if you asked him, take or leave, like, you know, he would be doing stand up.
I've always been curious about. I would never go on that show, but like I've been curious about it. Well, because I haven't had.
My God!
Listen,
Dude, hit him up.
Call.
We are doing it. When are they in LA?
Here's the thing. My dating life in LA is and he knows this. Because I posted a clip. I did a buddy's YouTube video where he does like dating style shows.
He's a good guy.
Didn't go great for me. I've been asked to be on The Bachelor 3 times now. I've always said no.
Yeah, Bachelor this week.
I've done social media dating shows.
If you get married at the end, like, you have to get married that day, and if it isn't a contractual thing, the show isn't interesting.
Yeah.
I'll die on that hill.
I like that. Isn't there a show like that now? You have to get married.
That was The Bachelor. That was the original
but there's a
Bachelor.
90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah, 90 Day Fiancé.
My buddy Rob was
But
the
you
guy.
you still get the out.
Yeah.
My show, I want to hang out with the old people.
It's just
Group of three.
just third
And
wheeling.
I decide, no, they never get together.
Oh.
They never
you pair them.
get together.
Oh, wow.
And
It's like a matchmaker type thing. Yeah.
It's like Indian
like that.
matchmaker meets like blind date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
like
I
that.
would never. You couldn't pay me to be on that show. no more.
Yeah, but obviously.
And if you go through that, you have to stay
You
married
want to
for
go
6
through
years.
life without ever meeting someone. I get it. Yeah. like I get it. You don't want to be on my
David,
show, but my show's that good.
You're
like, I'm
poking
telling
at
you.
his deepest.
No,
his
but
deepest-
my thing.
No, but back up. The Updating guys are good.
Yeah.
They're good
No,
guys.
those videos are fun.
So those guys
videos are fun.
Yeah, those guys are good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
those videos are fun.
have you been to the live show?
No, I've never been to the live show.
We gotta let's see. They should.
I
looked
look-
when they were going to be in LA. We'll go. I'll go with you. I'll be your emotional support.
Okay. No, I'm not going on stage. I'll go watch though.
Oh, I don't know.
But, like, I
we'll
just-
just go.
I feel
We'll just
like
go
This
and we'll
guy's
see
ended up
what
on
happens.
stage, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I just don't know how I would. I don't think I would come across as like blind. I don't know.
You're
Like,
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
What do you mean?
No.
What do you mean?
Look, they would build a whole story plot around you. You just go
They would
up
have to
there
make
and be
stuff up. I'm
6'5"
not that
and
interesting,
attractive.
I feel
You'll be
like.
fine.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Yeah, you're totally not interesting, but you're good.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying.
you're good. You're a good person.
You're serviceable
Yeah,
and you're
no.
6'5". So
No.
you're
Yeah. You're 6'5". You listen. You're not
I haven't-
interesting.
Yeah, no.
Like, if we start from that, I'm not
Do you know what's
interesting.
crazy is that
But
David.
you are.
David's so
We can
honest.
build the
puzzle
story.
piece, dude.
We can build the story
What
right
story
around
you building
and
around
it will
me?
be amazing.
What story?
that you're.
Oh, don't worry.
That we're trying to find you a fiance
I'm
and a
looking-
personality.
look, I'm
Hey,
looking
listen,
for a wife,
listen.
man.
I'm
I'm not out
finding
here
you a
trying to
wife.
date. I'm looking for a wife.
I'm finding
not
you
trying
a
to date,
wife.
man.
I will find you a wife, and I have the pilot for my TV show.
and it all works out.
Oh,
You get
I'm
married.
sweating
Everybody
thinking
wins.
about this.
Yeah.
I'm
and
stressed
I get
thinking
my
about it.
TV show.
The
I like it.
last like social media dating show I went on did not
Oh, play that clip. You seen that clip?
No.
Oh man, that's a great clip. That's all. Do you know what it is? Have you seen it? The David Alvarez one. Yeah.
All right.
David,
this is
you,
not
buddy.
social media though. Updating is a lot.
It is.
It's a lifestyle.
But it's for video. It's for video.
No, it's a live event.
Look,
it's a live event.
The videos they do, I
They
think.
do a 3-week.
I
they
think they're
sat
great.
in your chairs.
I think they're great. No,
but
no.
they at least had the sense to
they
take
do
my
casting
side.
for it,
Yeah.
dude.
That's what
Like,
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's
this
social
is-
media. It's
No, no.
You got to go to a live show.
No.
You'll get it then.
Hey,
Yeah.
I promise.
you're gonna be on the episode right after them,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna be on the thing. Oh, it's good. We
man.
need to get the calendar. They're on tour, so they have a great business model. It was a good episode. They really got into what they're doing, and like again, the other piece that I like, and the counter, and Jack was the same way, and Shawnee was the same way, is the intentionality around what they're doing.
Right.
Like it's there and it's shared.
Yeah,
and it's
you
like,
could tell that wasn't an accident. Like they crush it. Those videos are very entertaining to watch, and you could tell.
and they were great to meet. They
Yeah.
really were,
awesome.
and they're really interested in the business side.
Yeah,
Like this is a business.
Yeah.
It's not they're not social media dating guys. Like
I watched one of those. It might have been the most recent one. I watched a recent one. And I was like, this guy, like. I was like sweating watching it. It was so cringe, the things these guys were saying. And I was just like, oh, I would hate to be up there. I know I wouldn't ever accidentally say anything, but I'd hate to be up there and people watching at home be like, this guy's the worst.
See,
He's
he is
so
an actor.
cringy.
Yeah.
He's so
He wants to-
insecure.
he wants to
that
look
he's
on
an
the camera.
actor.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
he's so
That's the-
insecure that he can
I'm
act.
not insecure. I'm a very confident human being.
You are.
But when it comes
certain
to
areas.
when it comes to like,
But you have.
I'm telling you, I think
he's
the
an
last
actor.
dating experience I had online was
That's the best video I've ever seen.
was a
Like,
great
look,
video.
you might never. You could do updating and never get on anything
Yeah.
because it's not just like you. Can
Yeah, I know. I mean, maybe
And
I
they don't
find,
stream
maybe
it.
I
They're
find
not
my
streaming
wife.
it.
Maybe
They're
I
not making
find my
episodes.
wife. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? But
No, you won't find your wife. I will
I'm
find
looking
your
for
wife.
my wife, guys.
I
I'm
will
looking for
find
my
your wife.
Let
I'm ready
David
to
do it.
travel and
I will
experience
find
the
What do
world.
you think his type is?
Yeah, that's right. Like, yeah.
Oh,
Hit me with that.
Yes.
It's
okay. What?
It's a more complex algorithm in my head. than
Okay,
that.
fair,
There's
fair.
no type. There's a partner.
All right.
Okay. There's somebody.
Okay, that was a good answer. I hate that was a good answer because
Yeah.
now I'm considering it. But like, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious what because Ryan, he loves to tell people he has a girlfriend. But
Yeah,
you've
he
met his
does.
girlfriend.
I don't.
met her.
When you met her, was it like how she was? Was it everything you thought? That he would,
I'm not as good looking as you, but like my wife is gorgeous, right? Like people
I've met
always,
your wife, yeah?
people
Yeah.
always go like, oh,
Yeah.
like,
I think
how'd you meet her?
I think I
Yeah.
remember meeting her and being like,
yeah.
Where
like,
did we meet her?
LA.
at that.
At
Oh
LA.
yeah,
she was working
yeah,
in LA.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She was- yeah.
Yeah.
So we're good.
You're punching
match.
up.
We're a good man. Yeah.
I was actually surprised that
Yeah,
That you were married.
also that.
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
very
no,
happily
but-
married.
no,
Also,
yeah, I
like
know,
that's
you're-
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. You're way ahead of me.
Almost a decade. Almost a decade. You know why?
Dude,
I
just
know
want
the
a second-
secret.
I just want to.
I know the secret. I
Your
can do it.
problem is that you go for the wrong crowd.
No, that's
you
not
know,
it.
no.
It's
Let me
not-
talk.
it's not- it's not-
Let me
it's
talk.
not-
Let me
it's
talk.
not-
Let me
it's
talk.
not-
Let me talk. Let me talk.
Business.
His whole thing is that he meets people in the wrong places. Like the people that you go after are in the wrong environments, so they're just like the wrong people.
I would agree with
Go
that.
to
a
the
couple years
library. Meet
ago.
a cute girl at the library.
First, they won't let me back in the library.
Yeah. You
can't read, so,
I would agree with that a few years ago. But like recently, the most recent two girls I've talked to and gone on dates with.
Kansas. That's where you find his girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably need to go. My mom tells me every time, just move
Kansas.
back to Texas.
Kansas.
Move back to
Not
Texas. You meet
Or
your girl.
Poland
in
or
Texas.
Kansas.
And
He just wants a
these
blonde
these
girl,
girls,
that's it.
no, that's not it. These girls, like, by the way, I'm going to show you photos of both the girls I just talked to, and you're going to be like,
And they were only blonde once, so
have 50%. But like, I kid you not, this is LA. And it is LA. I really do. One girl I was really into. Morals, values, everything we talked about, we matched on. The first time we went to breakfast, we met at 10:30 for breakfast. We left the restaurant at 3:30. Like we were talking for 5 hours straight. Incredible.
Did she sign you?
Second
to a
date.
deal?
Second date, we go on a hike. Third date, we go to dinner. Fourth date, I take her to a Laker game. Then I take her to my buddy's sushi place, which made me look even cooler because they were closed. And I was like, hey man, like she really wants sushi. Opened up just for me and her. Like it was one of those. I was pulling out all the stops for this girl, right? One day, I still have not heard back from her.
Wow.
Just
What do you say?
nothing.
She saw
Just
the social media dating video.
Yeah.
I went on that later. But if she saw that video, that would have been a plus for me because I know you haven't seen the video yet. And
you were good. You were good. You were solid gold.
This clip, you have to see it.
okay, so here's
It'll
the
be
thing.
on.
Here's the thing.
They will have already seen it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna play it?
Yeah, we're gonna splice it in.
episode, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's your least favorite sex position?
So I was on a dating show. I was expecting to find the one. I was not expecting this.
What's your least favorite sex position?
I actually don't know because I'm waiting till marriage.
Wait, so you're a virgin?
Yes,
How old are you?
30.
For you.
It got quiet in here real quick, guys.
Can you pick who to eliminate before I leave?
Wonder who she's gonna pick.
Okay, the virgin's gotta go.
Oh, wait, hold on.
The virgin's gotta go. The virgin's gotta go. I like
The way
his
she,
height though. The virgin's gotta go. The virgin's gotta go.
All right, ladies, who have you guys decided to eliminate?
Virgin! I appreciate your determination. I do. Yeah,
Dude.
It's okay, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
The most action he's ever got. What's your least favorite sex position?
But honestly, that edit, I had to cut out a lot. That one girl was literally like,
Obsessed.
no one wants an effing virgin. Get him the F out of here. And I'm just
The
like,
girl with the black hair.
I'm standing there having to take it too. And
Did
so I
they
was
make a
just
movie about you?
I actually wrote a script. One of the scripts that I'm trying to pitch right
He's
now
a 30-year-old virgin. You ever heard
is
of that?
well, no. At my birthday, my buddy who owns a club in LA, we obviously went out for my birthday, and the signs they brought out with all the bottles, which by the way I don't drink, so all my friends love going out with me because they just drink.
Yeah, you're
all
the driver.
free alcohol.
I don't drink. I know exactly why they want to hang out with you.
They bring out the
It's
sign.
not
that
you're
says
cool.
30,
It's
they bring out
yeah.
the sign that says 30-year-old virgin. Anyway, whatever. So it's something that I don't hide. I've spoken about it before on social media and stuff.
Do you
like that.
hide stuff? I don't come across you as like really hiding.
I really don't hide anything. Like I am very open about because one, like that's a life decision I've made. You know what I mean? And I'm proud of
Yeah, why
it,
wouldn't you?
especially being in a city that is so driven by other things. I am proud of it. So that has been a hurdle in
you-
the dating world in
I was
Los
going to say,
Angeles.
yeah, do you feel like sometimes you get, can I ask this on
Yeah.
here? Do
Yeah,
you
you
feel
ask
like you,
anything.
I'm just making sure he's comfortable talking about it and respecting his boundaries.
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Do
at all.
you,
You
because
said he doesn't hide anything.
you get to like 4 dates, right?
Yeah.
Usually that is
There's a conversation.
somewhere in there. Like usually,
I am very open about it. I either say it on the first or second date.
Okay, so
every
they
time.
know.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
like
I can sell this.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
you can sell.
You're good.
you're really looking
You're
at
good.
this. You're
And this is my guy,
Dude.
This is my first.
You're making a profile right
no,
here.
I'm in the back. I'm doing the pitch
Well,
deck for like
the-
selling this show.
the thing,
Like, you're gonna be a real actor.
yeah.
the some issues dating in LA is just like, you know, thoughts of how dating is very different. Like the biggest part of who I am as an individual is my faith. It always has been, always will be.
What's your faith?
I'm a
Methodist.
Christian.
I'm also a
I'm a Christian.
Methodist, technically. Yeah.
I believe in the Bible, you know. I grew up Southern Baptist, but then
That's
I've
not
been
a thing.
going.
There's rules.
been
There's
going-
rules to this.
I've been going to non-denominational churches
That's not a church.
for
You
years.
made
It's like it's literally like not a church.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble for that. This is going next to the soccer crowd. So now we've got the non-denominational Christians coming for me with the
And the soccer
people.
players, yeah.
Men's soccer.
And so that has been a hurdle in LA is because I just, you know, like
Why don't you go to church today?
I do. I mean, I don't go to church to date. I go to church. Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's where one of my friends exclusively goes to church to try to find his wife.
But don't they have like singles things there?
They have to have mixers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I guess. They
Were you
do.
in like the Hillsong with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez?
I
So
wa-
their building's right next to mine. Like,
I didn't go
so-
to Hillsong. Originally I went to a church. That's actually how I met Justin the first time was at church. But I went to a church called Zoe for a while.
So-
but I go to a church now called Oasis, which is in LA.
So that's like like Hillsong was like low key.
Hillsong,
like they were like definitely like
that was a blow to the
That's not
gut
a
because
Christian church.
I had close friends in the church, and then when things started to happen with the pastor of the New York one, we used to play basketball together a lot, so that it did affect me for a while
Yeah.
because like I went to him for like girl advice sometimes, and
The pastor?
yeah,
Uh,
and so it was a tough blow for a little while to when you hear stuff like that.
when you look at that church model, does it look the same to you as like so for me as a Methodist, like that's not a Christian church because it's like
For profit.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that I will go to a church that speaks truth, that preaches the Bible. So if it's a Methodist church, great. If it's a Baptist church, great. But like churches do get lost, I say lost in the sauce sometimes, and do cater to certain audiences, which if that's what you're doing, if that's what's getting them in the door, cool. But the church I go to now is pastored by this guy who I could honestly
I'll come
doesn't
with
care.
you.
Please come.
We'll do some content.
I'm telling you,
we'll find
it's
someone
incredible.
It's
Incredible. It's an incredible church. The guy's
If
name
it's
is Julian Lowe.
non-denominational, I'm not going to like it. I'm just giving you a hint. I'm not going to like it. But
it reminds me
I'll
of
tell
church
you
back
all the
home.
reasons why I don't.
It's the closest church that reminds me of church back home, where it's not like a celebrity church. It's not like
Do they come down on wires and like perform?
What? This
Isn't that
like
there's some churches in
like
LA.
a Christmas musical,
Dude,
maybe.
no, a
like,
lot of the churches in LA, they have like big
In the Christmas
performance.
music, the most holy of days.
Yeah.
Only on the most holy of days
Do
do
they bring you down
on
the
the wires
wire?
and perform.
But I'm saying like what like
We had a
what do
friend
you
who went to
mean?
one of the same ones. I had a friend who went to one of the same ones in LA, and every time he tried to get me to go with him, he would say that they do these big performances with like electric guitarists doing power slides across the stage.
How much of
I don't know about
some
that
of
one.
these churches? How much business gets done across these churches?
Oh, that's interesting.
In sorry, in what sense? Like
It's like a networking space, like
as a networking component.
I would say I've met some people in the business world there through like a small group thing. But really what it does, what I find the importance of church is just community, other like-minded people, and like you go, I have a game night every week with a couple of, but like, I've met a couple of really cool people in the business world that I've actually done work with because of like a small group.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, any community, you're going to start to get that. And if you're in LA, you're going to have a certain percentage of people attracted to future up and coming talent.
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest
writers, actors,
business relationships I've gotten has actually been with a guy who he's the president of events at this company called Bucket List. And Bucket List has 25, 30 million followers across Instagram, and they have like Bucket List New York, Bucket List LA, and they do these really cool, like huge build out pop-up events of like, they just did one in New York for Barbie, where and then they did one in LA. It was like Family Guy golf, and like they do these really cool events, and they also post these really cool like things you don't know. Like Bucket List New York, for example, will post like, here are the top 5 best outdoor nature places in New York, whatever, blah, 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 stuff like that. And so me and him have been able to like curate a really cool relationship and do some business together. So, and some future business with some stuff we're really excited about.
When you start to think about where you're at, and and I think some of the stuff that we talked about in the last episode is like diversifying revenue streams, right? Like how you've moved from 5 manual labor jobs to like 5 jobs that are on the path, right? Like, so it's really a journey that you're on. And like, how do you think about that diversified labor? Because it came in handy when you hit pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Like 85% is better than 100. Like a lot of people lost 100% of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think now I'm happy doing as many jobs as I'm doing now because it's stuff that's interesting to me and what I want to do. And whereas I was waking up at 6 a.m. to go move some other rich guy's furniture into his new mansion, now I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to like work out and then be creative.
So you're creator at residence at UConn. You have your YouTube channel. What are you doing that actually generates? You got modeling, acting, getting paid.
Yeah.
Not just free shorts.
Not just shorts.
Commercials, TV.
Commercials. Haven't done any TV or movie yet. Been in a couple shorts, but nothing like paid. But commercials, like I have friends that have made livings off of commercials. Like
for sure,
good livings
for sure.
off of commercials.
That's what you be a working actor doing commercials, no problem.
Yeah, and so
especially that lady Flo.
Flo makes
she's the outlier.
3.5 mil a year.
Yeah, and then
she's been around for a long time.
Yeah. If you could naturally start to put more money in some of the buckets, not acting, right? Not acting in a movie. Like you get a movie, right? Like that's where you dream, close your eyes, wake up, you're in a movie. Besides that, where would you like to see your buckets fill up in the future?
Fill up from?
In the future,
okay.
Consulting, you're doing right? So like these things, how would you fill up your buckets? you get to assign your revenue streams, right? Instead of the market.
Yeah.
Where would you put it? What would be the thing you love doing the most?
You know, if you asked me that a year ago, I would say into my own content, like doing my own stuff, which I would say like maybe I would still put some of it into that. But recently, and with Ryan and doing this UConn creator in residency thing, I've really, really enjoyed helping other people figure out what they want to do, figure out like, and figure out companies where to go with. So like consulting's been really cool. And I did a freelance job with Gary Vee for the World Cup that lasted 6 weeks that I really loved and really enjoyed doing. Just signed on with this other company that I'm helping consult and creating content for them, helping them understand where they're going with their channels. And so it's still staying in the creative space. So I would say probably like half of that bucket would go into the consulting and helping and freelance, and then a fourth of it into my own content and another fourth of it into like
helping.
Yeah.
You can almost look at that helping as like paid philanthropy, right?
Yeah.
Like I was talking to someone, actually you met him from in class the other day, the guest we had. And he was like, I look at my angel investing as philanthropy that like I could get a return from.
Yeah.
Same.
Right. And you could look at it similarly. Yeah.
I have fallen in love with like with what I can in investing and like figuring out other companies to put into. That's been really cool too. I haven't seen a return on any of it.
Yeah, no,
but maybe one day.
Maybe
Maybe
but
one
like,
day.
Like you haven't launched your sweatpants line yet.
Not yet.
Right? Like you haven't launched your water bottle or your water company. Your vitamin water.
Yeah.
50 cents. Is that a space that you grow into, your own products?
At the moment, no. I'm not going to say no to those opportunities if something comes up, but it's not something that I've like put a lot of thought or effort into. I did merch for a little bit for YouTube stuff, and like you can still buy some of my merch, stuff like that. But it's not like
CalebNashFeemster.com.
Yeah, it's not. It's like
you got to market that to me. I'll buy and wear it.
I have a shelf
You were
on
the other guy's
YouTube.
hoodie the other day.
Yeah, damn right.
That was good.
Yeah. On the show.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a desire for it, but if someone came to me and was like, "Hey, I have this idea that I think you'd be great for," then like, yeah, by all means, I would love the opportunity, but it's not something that's like on the front of my mind.
It's good.
What about you?
For what? Buckets. Right now, where I want more of, I guess if you're talking about where I want more income to come from, it would be content licensing and syndication, because I think that has like by far the highest growth potential long term. There's a few companies trying to get into it, but they don't have like the background creator know-how, and they're kind of floundering when they don't structure their contracts.
Well, I mean, I think really Quibi tried to get into something not too dissimilar, right?
They might have.
Yeah,
so I really like that direction.
That was $1 billion.
Yeah, just gone overnight.
That was nuts. I mean, not the worst idea, but nuts.
But like I've been acquiring libraries for free from people just for equity, and it's been great so far. So that, and then I do agree with Caleb. I would love if more of it was the kind of paid philanthropy like you're talking about, speaking, consulting. Yeah.
The last couple of trips that we've had to UConn, and we've talked about this multiple times now, have been so like amazing to this. We would love to do that. We don't think, we actually just said it last night, we don't think we would have a relationship like this with other universities, but we would still love to go to other universities. And when I say relationships, I mean like we've really built relationships with a lot of your student athletes and a lot of your professors and people on the sports staff. So we've been really blessed to be able to come back, but we would love to repeat.
That's deliberate, right? Like that's all deliberate.
What do you mean?
They're paid actors. He hired
none of them really play basketball.
It's strategery. It's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's strategery on my part.
That's interesting that he just put it that way.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why strategic?
Well, I mean, you have to change the brand, right? And like one, I fundamentally believe this is entrepreneurship's future. I fundamentally believe it.
It's one of the first things you said to us when we met you.
Like it's not. This is not a flash in the pan. This isn't a buzzword creator economy thing. That's why like creatorship kind of scares me as a word, because like people immediately take what I do and make it nil. It's like, well, nil is the stupidest thing in the world. It's just name, image, and likeness is just a rule change in the NCAA handbook. That stuff existed for 1,000 years, right? Like none of that stuff is new.
Yeah.
It's just a new audience that can do it, that has actual notoriety.
Okay.
Right. So like, but I see this idea, whether you're creating anything, it doesn't matter what you're creating, but that's how you teach people entrepreneurship, because you get them to do stuff and then figure out monetization
after, yeah.
Right. And like they need to start on something small. So I think most university programs are broken in that they're all looking for this grand scalable idea that can turn into Facebook. Well, Facebook, the Facebook.com couldn't turn into Facebook.
Sure.
Like like what Mark did at Harvard wasn't that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think a couple, you know, I don't want to say too much, but like he'll ruin me. But like Sean Parker, like Peter Thiel, you know, Mark Andreessen, these guys had a big impact on the development of Mark Zuckerberg. Right. It's not like Mark Zuckerberg was today, the kid in the dorm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of people that made a lot of money with him, that invested time and effort and saw what Facebook could be. Right. And he's and I think he's one of the master executors. Like his focus is, it's amazing. But, you know, again, like this idea that we're going to sit around and twiddle our thumbs and talk about scalable businesses and hope that the person that has the idea for the scalable business somehow is the person to create it, seems foolish. Why would you run a 20, 30, 40, $50 million academic program to try to catch lightning in a bottle or get as many kids creating things for the world as possible? And when those things have value, then you attach something to it. Then you push them, right? And so I do fundamentally believe that. I believe the digital space is a big piece of it. That's our future. Like these glasses, they keep coming out. Like eventually one of them is going to be where we spend a lot of our free time.
Yeah, I already have friends who spend 5 hours a day in them. It just came out 2 weeks ago, a week ago.
That's to me, man.
We call those dorks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're early adopters though, right?
Yeah.
Those people kind of define the course for the technology.
But I mean, there's been 4, 5, 6 of them already. And so I do believe the digital space is there. The need for content, even though all the traditional distribution lines have been destroyed and a lot of the traditional production has changed, more content is being consumed.
And made than ever,
Made than ever. Yep. So, you know, it's a valuable first and easy first place to go build your first business.
Yeah.
Because we all can do it, right? And I think that's the piece. So, yeah, I mean, it's an actual wild thing. The multiple revenue stream component is important because you can't know before you have product market fit what's going to work and what's going to last, right? Like if you were like, oh, I'm going to be able to monetize these videos that you're doing now for years, you probably never would have been able to create videos that you can monetize the way you did. Like it changes. Oh, I've got to build. It just changes the creation process.
Yeah, you're creating for a different purpose at that point. Yeah, I agree.
And so I think there's also an element that people get to find themselves through that journey. And, you know, you both talked about burnout at different points with me and even a little bit here. And some of that is because if you ask me without knowing the exact, you got doing things that weren't actually important to you and they were taking up too much of your time.
Yeah.
They were important to get a paycheck is what it was. I totally agree. 100% agree with that.
It was survival. But then at a certain point,
you
it's
come
like,
up for air for a second and you're realizing that you don't have to keep going down the path and that you have learned enough to do something else, I think.
Yeah. And at a certain point, it's like, you know what, you got to take a leap of faith. And because people do, the amount of people I know who have moved to LA for acting, who are, and this isn't me taking shots at anybody, who have stayed in their bartending job that they got 8 years ago, 10 years ago, who have stayed in their sales job that they got because they needed a check because of comfortability and good money and survival, that they've kind of like stopped doing what they moved out there for. Like,
can you imagine being in LA
everywhere. You could,
for a reason other than what you moved there for?
Yeah, and
that's a pretty tough.
But like you could do that. You could do that anywhere. Like if I weren't pursuing acting, I could be making a very good living in Dallas.
Right.
And like own a house and you know what I mean?
I
Like,
just moved out of LA for almost that exact reason that you just said. Like I don't need to do that thing that I moved there for there anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a buddy who just moved from LA to Nashville because he makes content full time and he makes a very good living making content. He moved to LA with an ex-girlfriend and then they broke up in LA and he realized I can make my content in the middle of Kentucky. Like, why am I spending $5,000 on rent?
I tried to get Riley Green's social manager to come do content at UConn, but he never called me back.
Who's Riley Green?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, to be honest.
Who's Riley
I
Green?
think he's like a country music guy.
Oh, well, you got a country music guy here, so who cares?
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think he's a little more famous than us.
Not for long.
Not for long.
Not if you drop your next
Not
hit
for long.
single.
Well, we only have one single out right now. We're working on 3 new songs, and I think one of them is going to be like, I think you're going to see it everywhere.
You want to
honestly.
be an actor. You're an actor. Why are you singing?
Dude, that's exactly why I asked that question from before. I've had other people, truthfully, talk to me on the side about you, thinking that you need to narrow your focus because they think that you will succeed. So,
they say that
right.
about me too.
And I've heard the same thing about me as well. But like, that's just why I asked that earlier question.
And my viewpoint on it is, so originally I approached a guy, a buddy of mine, his name is Alex Kinsey. What's up, Al? He actually just texted me. He won X Factor a couple years ago, Simon Cowell's show. Very good musician, very good producer, and he makes a pretty good living off of producing music. Anyway, I approached him with the idea of making a funny country song for my YouTube channel. I was going to shoot a music video. I was going to rent a horse and walk in the middle of downtown LA. Like it was going to be like funny.
All right.
And he was like, love the idea. Let's do it. We get in the studio. We started talking. And he was like, well, do you have any ideas for like a serious song? Like, because what if we make it serious, but then the video is funny? And I'm like, okay, yeah. And we start to talk about it. And I had a few ideas. And then I wrote the chorus, and then we wrote the verse together, and then we sang it, and we kind of looked at each other and was like, is this like good? And we were like, yeah, I think it's good. And so we were like, okay, let's see what happens. So over the course of like 2 or 3 months, we didn't make it a priority. It was like, oh, do you have a couple hours today? Whatever, cool. And we saw it through all the way start to finish. And when I heard the final product, I was like, that was it opened something new, some new creativity lane in my brain that was so fun to do, and so like you said, it was like mowing the grass. Yep. I looked back and I saw the last 3 months of this work come into this song, and we thought, what if we just do this for fun? I don't expect to make a penny off of it. I'm not trying to be a country music star. I'm not trying to tour. I'm not trying to. But
what
like,
if you tried to be a country music star?
I probably wouldn't be successful. But
sometimes you just got to make something for you.
And that's that. Yeah. This making music is the one thing I say. Like, yes, I'm sharing it with people, but it's the one thing now that I'm making for me because I don't expect to make a dime off of it. Social media, I make a living off of. Acting, I want to make my career. This stuff, it has nothing to do with I'm pursuing it. It's everything with like me and him. When we have a few hours together, we'll get together and we'll make a song.
So the too many things, the counter to that is exactly that. Is like, well, what if the person wouldn't be happy?
I agree.
And I think that's where, so you have to, at some level, you're always going to sacrifice some level of success for happiness. Like if you want to be happy, like you're not going to maximize for success.
No, I agree.
But other people will take your own career because they don't have to live your life and maximize for economic output or this.
And I was doing everything I'm doing now on top of working a 30-hour-a-week job, and I was making really good money, but I just wasn't happy. And so obviously I quit that one. But like, I guess for the person who might have asked you about like if I'm spreading myself too thin, like it goes back to what do I do? Just sit around and wait for an acting opportunity, or do I like take the time to do something creative and fun and goofy and silly?
And that's
like,
creatorship. There's a component of doing, and like and I think at some level, because it becomes about your authentic who you are. You're doing activity that you're authentically interested in, right? Like There's that piece. So other people can't see the connectivity that you can see. And to your point, like, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I do love being busy. So like if a consulting job, obviously that's paying, comes up, it takes priority. It's not like I'm like, okay, let me put that aside so I can go work on music real quick.
Till we do the tour.
It's literally like, until I go on tour with my very successful.
We're going over to Pete's Candy Shop after this, and we're going to put you up and get you going.
Got a guitar, just go for it.
Guitar.
On the subway, too.
I got my toothpick, might as well.
Yeah, might as well try it. Yeah, get out there.
But yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I could be doing, which David has kind of inspired me to rethink of, is the one thing I could be doing more to get that acting career that I'm looking for is starting another YouTube channel where I just create shorts where I act. But even then, that's not like something that's going to be making, you know what I mean? So
there are people on TikTok who have acting careers now just because they lip sync to famous audio clips from movies. That's all they do.
Yeah.
You seen that girl? You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll show you later. But like, I don't even think you have to make a full new platform to do it. You could just find ways to integrate it into what you're already doing.
Yeah, I could do that.
I think we need Caleb Nash live.
Yeah. Oh, live all the time.
Nice.
I like that.
24/7
Live skit show.
Yeah, there's people who do that now. They just set up cameras in their entire house and live stream everything they do.
In my house, I can tell from the view because like it comes on the thing, and they just live stream. They don't even live stream what they're doing. They live stream the sounds of what they're doing
and the view. Oh wow!
Nice.
Have you seen there's videos of people who strap a...
And there's thousands of people watching the view from basically my living room.
People buy little like Roombas in their house. They put a camera on it, just let it run around their house, just vacuum everything.
That's funny.
Thousands of views. Yeah,
it's actually really fun. I need a Roomba I have a husband.
So you talked about cutting grass, how it's satisfying. They're releasing a robot at, was it CES? Is that the Consumer Electronic Arts or whatever it is, Electronic Expo or whatever? They released a robot that cuts your grass for you, and it looks like a giant Roomba. I'm telling you. So buy one of those.
I might be able to buy a house then.
Yeah, and then
that's the number one reason I can't buy a house.
Yeah,
because I'd have to cut a lawn.
Yeah, right. So if you buy that, put a camera on it, live stream it, it'll pay for the house.
For the house.
Yeah,
there you go.
Interesting. All right, so I think we got through a lot of different things, but I mean, 2 episodes, 2 guys, like it sort of makes sense. What's on your mind? What's going on
in life?
Yeah, what are you guys thinking about?
I'm really thinking about this week, honestly. I'm thinking about how to I can't, my mind just went blank on the word. My mind really just went blank on the word.
He's an actor that can't talk. He's an actor that can't talk.
How to maximize what me and Ryan are doing without sacrificing our own, like not mental health, but like our own time into doing it. Because one thing that I've learned from quitting night jobs is my mental health has been so much better because I now all of a sudden have opened up 6 to 7 hours of my day where I'm not like dealing with other people or like having to handle situations. Like I can literally be at the house at night with my dog and like working on stuff that I want to work on for me. And so I've really enjoyed that. But at the same time, I want to maximize these unique like talents and abilities and knowledge that we've grown. So the consulting things and
you talk about mental health a lot. Like you're as open as him. Like on that topic. Like there's stuff out there.
Yeah, I talk about all the time.
Like for me, I guess I'm just like I think I'm stupid in this category or something. Like aren't we all like burnout? Like we're all tired.
Yeah, everyone's tired. I think
like for or like anxiety. Like come on, everybody's got anxiety. Like if you don't have anxiety, you sit there. You know what you do? You sit there on the couch and wait for someone to call you, right?
Yeah. So like I don't have anxiety, but I know some people who do, and for them it's usually like debilitating, and they can't. They talk about how they can't function. For me,
can they not function, or can they just talk about not functioning and then use it as an excuse?
I think that some people truly can't function, and I think there are also people out there who use it. I think there's both, to be honest. Like that's reality.
And when you don't suffer from it and you don't have the exposure, you kind of go, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I can see that.
When it comes to burnout, everyone's tired, but what I realized is that I was sacrificing like my physical health, which was leading to burnout. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't sleeping enough. I was eating one meal a day at like 6 p.m. after filming all day.
How many calories in that one meal?
Like 700. Like I would get like a burrito or 1,000.
So you're just like a little skinny guy.
No, like, dude,
like
that's why, dude, I finally started eating right for the first time in like 6 years, 6 months ago. And I weigh the most I've ever weighed, and I feel the healthiest I've ever felt. To be honest, right? So for me, it's the burnout thing has to do with
Why'd you start eating right?
Because I had more time, because I slowed down on content. I like found the time in the day to.
You were literally running around so much filming content so fast that you wouldn't stop and have a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. It sounds, but I also think that comes from me being young and inexperienced and like having to teach myself how to operate as an adult at the same time as launching a business. I just didn't know how to do both.
Yeah.
Right. So I would get yelled at all the time for not eating because I get pretty hangry when I haven't eaten, and people would know, and then I would eat something. I'd be like, I'm sorry that I yelled at you 5 minutes ago. That's my bad. So for me, it was the slowing down, the coming up for air moment, and then like making a conscious effort that if I want to grow as an entrepreneur or as a boss or as like a business person, I need to take care of myself first, because I've never done that personally.
Yeah.
Right? Does that kind of make sense? Yeah.
I think one of the biggest stigmas of our generation, but also of this content world, is grind. If you're not grinding, you're not
doing enough.
If you're not doing enough, to the point where when I was peak posting, I would post 2 YouTube videos a week, edit them myself, and then post short form on peak posting. I thought I wasn't doing enough. And then if I had an hour free in my day, I would fill it with some type of work or something. So much to the point where like I'm going to the ER because I think something's really, really wrong with me, but I'm like sleep deprived, dehydrated, and malnourished. And it's because I thought I wasn't doing enough. Once I gave myself the grace of like, it's okay to not do this. It's okay to postpone a post. It's okay to have time for yourself and have exercise for yourself and all that other stuff. That's when like I started to get
that feeling of not
better.
doing enough. Is that is that a comparison component to other people?
For me, it was never comparison. It was always in my own brain, because I was someone who was never motivated in high school, middle school. And then when I got to college, I started figuring it out and I started liking the grind and working.
How did that happen? Like, was there a switch, or
at what point
did that occur?
So Brian, big piece of that, right? But like for the most part, it's because for the first time I was in subjects I cared about, right? Like in school, I don't care about math personally. I don't care about history that much unless it's like an interesting war or something.
The history of slime.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do any slime content. Give me some credit. Come on now.
It's kind of like slime.
What are you talking about? You haven't seen a single video on my channel, I'm guessing.
No, I can't get past 30 seconds.
So he doesn't know if you do slime or not.
Yeah, I assume.
I don't know either. Maybe I have done slime. I just don't even know about it. But like,
I'm going to go back and look for the thumbnail.
I'll find you a video that you should watch. I'll find you like a Fear Factor video.
No, so I don't like that. When Joe Rogan was doing that stuff, so that's why I could never listen to Joe Rogan's podcast or anything, because he was doing Fear Factor.
No, but it's not like that. It's like, what is your fear in real life? What's your fear? What are you afraid of? Don't get existential.
Heights.
Okay, so I would take you skydiving, and that's how... Dude, that's my first... So the first video on my channel is me facing my fear of heights and skydiving.
I don't like to stand on the second step of a ladder.
I respect it. Well, that's... Okay, well, that's just we need to talk about that.
I live on the 29th floor.
I know, right? So every time you look at the window, you get
afraid.
If
I get too close, I
close the blinds.
I get vertigo.
Yeah. So I started studying like film and production and business. I started getting educated on how to like earn a living, and that got me in school, like especially like public high school. They don't teach you business. They don't teach you how to make money, how to.
Well, because they have to teach you how to become an adult.
Yeah, well, kind of. Do they really?
Yeah.
I hated.
My experience.
There's an evolution.
Dude,
there's an evolution. They're giving you time to grow
to a
up.
Professor, man, you gotta.
Okay, I get that, and that's my own journey and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
I was too worried about girls and soccer practice.
Why would you teach a 12-year-old how to earn a living?
Well, I don't know. So for me, that's why this switch flipped. Right? It was when you get to college, you start studying something you actually care about, and then it was like. I went from being the worst student and the worst like person to work with to someone who's I like to think I'm okay at what I do. You say no.
Why are you looking for?
I was just hoping you would say yeah.
for sure. No,
no, he just hangs out with you because you're not that good looking.
he's got to bring the average looks up.
Makes me look better.
Takes me from a 5 to a 6 just by standing around you.
The biggest like switch for me was my dad telling me there's a big difference in being productive and being busy.
Oh, activity does not equal progress.
100%. And so 100%. I was literally working myself into the ground because I thought if I was busy, I was doing something.
Kathy at my work said that to me, and I was like, yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, it was a huge thing in which that started a long, I do have a video on my.
Many people don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Progress. Yeah, I think you measure by progress, not activity.
Yeah. And I think like, a lot of it was my competitiveness as an athlete, but a lot of it was in my own head, thinking I wasn't good enough for what I was doing. I had a little bit of a imposter syndrome, and
so that's my default. I'm not good enough. Like everybody has imposter syndrome. Again, I'm not good enough. I know it. That's okay. So now what?
Be better. Is that
maybe find what you are.
What do you
move to the thing, move around. Like
you feel imposter syndrome with what you do now?
Every day you worry that the whole house of cards comes falling down and everybody realizes you're dumb. Everybody has that at every level of success.
That's because you're always, if you're growing, dumb. I just put it out there.
Undersell, over deliver.
I put it out there. Like, hey, I'm not the smartest.
Think about it. You've got $1 billion, right? You built a company, you sold it. What do? Right? Immediately you like do some crazy stuff. And then you're like, all right, what do I do? Well, you're not going to get into any business or do anything that isn't going to outdo what you did before. So to outdo what you did before, you obviously have to go somewhere you haven't been. Do something. Like imposter syndrome is the fact that you're growing. You're in a place where you don't know the answers. But the reason you're growing is because you want to grow. And so just accept it. So everything I do, I realize it's a failure, like before I do it.
Sure.
And then I'm like, okay, if I do it and it's going to fail, well, what
can you change?
What can we do? What's better? What's this? What's that? So like things going wrong, you can say yes to things when you don't have to go, yeah, is this going to be successful? Yes, no. No, it's not going to be successful. So why am I doing it? What do I want to get from it? Sure. I don't need success out of it. I need something else. Sure. In this seat, I need to, we actually talked about that a couple of days ago. And it's like, well, I mean, I want a timestamp. I want, an intellectual timestamp that's not me writing an article for a peer-reviewed journal that no one's ever going to read.
Sure.
I want to meet interesting people, talk about things I'm interested in.
Sure.
And by the way, this is the future of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I know it. So how do you do it?
You
start.
Yep.
And maybe the podcast sucks.
No, I mean,
this one doesn't.
Yeah, this one's pretty good.
This one's
we blame him. We immediately blame him. Right?
It's Caleb's fault.
But and we talk on the production side. We talk about we don't need another podcast on the life of
blank
a YouTuber and their own pre-rehearsed this is what I'm here to tell you. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'm selling. Check out my book next week.
And so I don't need 1 million people to watch it. I need the right one person that sees what I see and knows how we can start a house in stores, how we can do this, how we can do that. So it's really, there is this component, but it's going to fail. It's going to be on YouTube. And there's going to be 30 views, right? That's it. Now what? Should we still do it? Yes. This is why.
Yeah.
So now if it's got 300,000 views, hey, great. That's it. I mean, in my head, I always assume the worst is coming. And it's like this negative optimism.
I was about to say, do you consider yourself a pessimist in general or an optimist?
I'm an optimist. I'm an eternal optimist. Really? I'm always going to get there. And the other piece I've recently come to is I'm not going to take I'm going to hit singles on a day-to-day. I can just hit singles all day long for a baseball analogy, but I'm not getting involved unless it's got the potential to be a grand slam. I'm only doing the things that
Singles are to keep you going.
the singles are teaching classes and doing this. Like,
I like that.
I can do that. Like, I'm good at that. Like, even he liked my class, right? Like,
well, because we were
teaching. Yeah, it's fun to teach, right? Yeah. But so, I mean, but the things I'm going to get involved in are like, how am I going to change the lives of lots of people or
So what is the goal for you then? Is it
world domination? Always world domination.
Okay. Tell me more what that looks
like.
What does a world dominated by you look like?
It's probably mayhem.
Am I married?
You ever see
statues of
married
you?
and happy.
Statues of you
No,
everywhere.
not statues, but you know
I'd like to change my crush.
You know the mayhem.
pull her up.
You know the mayhem commercials.
Yeah, you're the mayhem.
Oh yeah, like me.
Yeah, that's life. Yeah, just not in pools and stuff.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, just everywhere.
Yeah,
global scale
mayhem, but like good mayhem. You guys got involved in what we're doing at UConn. You got involved in this creatorship world kind of accidentally, and like one of the things that we hope is it's a reciprocal relationship where you do start thinking about your career differently, and learn from us. I get the give first and give as much, and so I think we set up a pretty good model for that, right? And when I think about the business of creating, right, and you dove into a lot of the stuff around the burnout and the mental health issues and the pace of what you're doing, is there a fear that's driving that it's going to go away? Is there like, do you've talked about protecting your downside, right? Like you've done a good job building a foundation, but like, what if people stop watching you?
Oh, I think that will happen.
What if they don't watch your content?
I think that's fine because I have, like you're saying, protected my downside and kind of diversified. For a lot of creators, that is the inevitable. Not everybody, but for a lot of people who do social media, there's an end date at some point. At some point, I can't be in my like an older man doing the content that I was doing a year ago. Like my body physically couldn't do it. Right?
Who are you telling? I got tackled by the defensive line.
And he woke up the next day like,
He woke up, hey, how you feeling? I was like, I
might not make it today.
I'm hurting.
Yeah. So,
and then,
so that part of my life.
Then he went 15 for 15, by the way.
Yeah.
Might have fixed something.
That part of my life was driven by a fear. Now it's driven by the wants to do it and being excited again about something.
So what do you really, really want to do?
So you're talking about your core, you're an actor. That's what you're saying. So at my core, I was always like a producer. It's putting people together. But
why? Who cares?
Who cares about putting people together?
Yeah.
Because I I think you kind of said something similar. I like being a part of something that's bigger than me.
Yeah.
Right. And contributing to that. And as long as I in my heart believe in the project or the goal or the destination, like I'm all in. Right. Yeah. That's how I've been for content for years, for my friends' businesses, that kind of thing. So I think the way that my adult brain has approached it is that to do that sustainably, it's building businesses with people who I have direction the businesses I want to do, but then also like really buying into other people's and assisting.
Why do you want to build businesses? Like is it a sickness?
It's not a sickness. It's just fun. Like I like, to me, it's a game. And I like to see
you're playing a game.
I kind of feel
Life is playing a game?
I kind of feel like I'm playing a game where it's like, so for a while I was
Mario.
like, yeah, Mario, right?
It's a Mario.
I'm Mario. Yeah. So for a while when it was like YouTube, it was the views, the game. Like how many views can I get? That's the game. Then it for a while turned into how much money can I make this month? That's the game. I don't care if I don't do well, but I really like when I do well because I also I don't spend money. Like I don't.
Oof, tell me how to do that.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I spend money, man.
For me, it's like. For me, it's people. Like my favorite part about life is meeting people and talking with people and like spending time with them and just like the camaraderie element of that. And then the other part is just trying to do big things, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question? Maybe. Who knows?
I would agree. Back in the day, it was probably fear driven of like, if I don't do X amount of views, then I can't pay rent type thing. And I got used to making a certain amount of money, a certain amount of dollars. And I think I've been very happy with myself in the last 6-ish to 8 months of letting go of, because I've set myself up to make money in other avenues, letting go of I have to make X amount of dollars on YouTube in order to sustain living, because then that allows you a little bit of freedom in itself to do what you want to do. And
what do you want to do? What's the movie you want to make?
The movie I want to make?
Yeah.
Or the move.
The move or the movie? I'm sorry, what did you say? Movie. Honestly, I've thought there's 2 TV shows, 2 TV series I want to make, probably more so than a movie.
Okay.
Movie wise, I've always wanted to be in. Did you see Magnificent Seven, the remake with Chris Pratt and Denzel?
No.
Okay.
I saw Richard.
The first
you
one.
want to be in
the first one.
You want to be in a Western.
I would love to be in a Western.
There you go. That's a good answer.
That's
a good answer.
I would love to be in a Western.
Antagonist.
I'm telling you, like, and I know I fall back on it.
answer.
Chris Pratt's role in the remake of Magnificent Seven is an ideal role for me. Like, I would love to be in a Western.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. It
We
has been a
down
good
the
time.
line. Bring us back, because I want to do one where we ask you questions the entire time. Because
We just tell them.
yeah, for real.
Yeah, bring us back. Bring us back in a few months
man.
to see how much we've grown.
Well, you could just make your own podcast.